Counties Radio.
It's 6 o'clock. I'm Simon Oxley. The headlines: care certificate criticised after Bedford care home death. Police pledge to find attackers of Watford football fan, and more arrests after Bedfordshire shop robberies.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
A woman whose father died following neglect at a Bedford care home says new training for staff won't deal with the problem. Parkinson's and dementia sufferer James Stewart died last year after he didn't get his medication at the Manton Heights care home. Kirsty Bourne says the new national care certificate being introduced next month is a waste of time.
It's going to make no difference whatsoever. And quite frankly, I haven't met a care worker who didn't know how to make a cup of tea or clean up behind someone and who hasn't actually done it with compassion. That's not where the problem is. The problem lies far higher up.
Following the arrest of a 13-year-old schoolboy, the detective leading the hunt for the attackers of Watford football fan Nick Crewis has urged those responsible to do the right thing and hand themselves in. Detective Chief Inspector Chris Hanson said they had clear CCTV, which would allow them to single out those who attacked the 44-year-old from Hemel Hempstead after last Saturday's game at Wolves. Mr Crewis remains in a critical condition in hospital. The 453 servicemen and women who died during the campaign in Afghanistan will be remembered at a service this morning at St Paul's Cathedral. The Queen will be among those attending. 3 more men are in custody following a string of knife-point robberies in the Luton and Dunstable area. A 27-year-old man from Luton and a 32-year-old from Dunstable have been arrested on suspicion of robbery. A 27-year-old from Luton has been arrested on suspicion of witness intimidation. 2 other men from St Albans have been released on police bail. None of the police officers involved in the investigation into the Rochdale child sex abuse scandal will face misconduct proceedings. However, an internal investigation by Greater Manchester Police concluded that there were a number of significant failures in its handling of allegations of abuse. More from Robert Hall.
9 men were eventually jailed for their part in the abuse. The police say mistakes have been corrected and lessons learnt. They hope that publication of this report will convince any victim of abuse that they will be taken seriously.
The patient group Health Watch says the NHS is failing to make visits to GPs and dentists accessible for people with disabilities. A report says the relative of a patient in Luton had to carry their mother up the stairs to visit the doctor because it wasn't accessible to wheelchairs. Plans for the Dunstable Northern Bypass are going on public display today. Work on the road linking the A5 to the M1 is already underway. Exhibitions are taking place in Chorlton Village today and in Dunstable tomorrow. In sport, reigning champion Lewis Hamilton finished second behind Mercedes teammate Nico Rosberg in first practice for Sunday's season-opening Australian Grand Prix. Second practice is taking place now, and England's cricketers are playing Afghanistan in their final World Cup match, having already been eliminated. A short while ago, Afghanistan was 62 for 4 from 25 overs. The weather: some light rain at first, then a dry day with sunny spells, maximum temperature 11 degrees Celsius, and you can get the latest news and sport online at bbc.co.uk/3 counties.
Thank you, Simon. Morning, Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio. Kelly's conducting the music there, a bit like a plum or an old man sitting all alone in his house might do. Busy show this morning. Arrogant deer. Is the arrogant deer
in Letchworth?
Hang on.
In Letchworth.
No, that was my reference to you, Catherine.
Oh.
Arrogant deer. Arrogant deer. And that's pretty much it, really.
No? Other things?
I mean, that's the only thing that's wetted my whistle.
Oh.
My whistle is wet for a deer.
Well, I can't speak for your whistle.
Thank you very much indeed. 08459 455 555.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three
Get that one.
Counties
That one
Radio.
much better. Don't forget, all the music today is coming from actual records.
Black slacks. Black slacks. Black slacks. Black slacks. Black slacks. Make a good daddy-o. When I put them on, I'm raring to go. When I go places, I just don't care. You would know why if you see what I wear. Black slacks. Big 14 black slacks. Really are key black slacks. Make a cool daddy-o. When I put them on, I'm raring to go. Man, you ought to see me with my derby on. I know that you would say he's gone. Black slacks.
There's not enough songs that have...
Rick Petit's got one.
Petite, you're right, it does. Some kind of sort of reggae, skank songs. 08459 455 555. Songs that have...
There's another one.
Doesn't
the one that Kylie Minogue did.
Which one?
Give me just a
little more time. Yeah. Doesn't Bad Manners have one? Bust the Blood Vessel, probably.
Probably. You know what he was like.
OK, here we go. We'll do two things. Songs that have and fat singers.
OK.
Mama Cass.
Demis Roussos.
Adele. I've got another one.
Pavarotti.
Yes.
The High Numbers. You're out of the game now, and that was between me and Kels until someone drops out. The High Numbers.
Rick Waller.
Oh.
Michelle McManus.
Oh. No, I'm done.
Back to you, Catherine. I've survived 2 rounds so far.
Barry White.
Oh, David Crosby.
Both of Odyssey.
Oh, I'm out. Between you two.
OK. Louis Armstrong.
He wasn't fat.
Well, you know, he's quite large.
We're not playing quite large singers. I'm sorry.
Here we go. Biggie, Smalls.
Oh, good one.
Catherine's the undisputed champion. She didn't get the most wins, but she was the last man standing.
It's all about strategy.
08459 455 555.
Oh.
She had to go and ruin it, didn't she?
She always does.
I was expecting a swear in my ear. We often do that.
You'll get one in a moment.
We often do that when we criticise Kelly, just as we've turned her microphone down. Isn't that right, Kelly?
Yes.
Thank
you know
you.
what makes me laugh, apart from criticising Kelly?
Yes.
When people ring up and they say, you leave her alone, like she's 5. Actually, she is the biggest potty mouth of us all.
She's older than all of us put together. Now, people can hear what you say. From next month, new care workers will have to undergo training in a bid to crack down on people who aren't cut out for such a trusted position. We've been contacted by a number of care home operators who welcome the news, saying it's a significant step towards raising standards, but others aren't quite so sure. Isn't that right, Catherine?
That's right. We'll be speaking to Kirsty Bourne later on, and you'll remember her from September when we interviewed her about a report that revealed that her father, James Stewart, hadn't been given his Parkinson's medication at all during a 2-month stay at a Bedford care home called Manton Heights. Now, last year, a coroner blamed systematic failures for the death of Kirsty's father, who was admitted to the care home at the beginning of February and died at the end of April. Now, Kirsty says the new National Care Certificate is a complete waste of time.
It's going to make no difference whatsoever. It's all basic human care stuff. And quite frankly, I haven't met a care worker who didn't know how to make a cup of tea or clean up behind someone, and who hasn't actually done it with compassion. That's not where the problem is. The problem lies far higher up with the management of care companies and care homes. They are the ones that need stronger regulation. This is just yet another layer of administration that's going to cost money in an already cash-strapped sector.
Now, Kirsty's also pretty sure the new training for care workers wouldn't have prevented what happened to her dad.
That was all down to mismanagement of the care home and the ward that my father was on. And yet they're targeting the people on the bottom rung, the people that do all the hard work and get paid very little. They're looking in the wrong place here.
So what's the idea behind this? What's it called? A National Care Certificate?
Yeah, that's what it's called, and it comes into force in England from next month for staff, including assistants in hospitals, care homes and those who look after people in their own homes. Now, this comes after the Cavendish review into healthcare assistants and support workers in the NHS and social care settings, and that review found that the preparation they have for their roles within care settings are inconsistent, so you can never quite tell what you're going to get.
How's it going to work?
New care workers will have to earn a training certificate within 12 weeks of starting a job. They'll need to complete all 15 standards to be awarded the care certificate, including areas like infection control, dementia care and patient dignity. The certificate itself, though, will be the responsibility of employers, which is something that the Registered Nursing Home Association is quite concerned about.
Are they going to do a thing about teaching people not to nick stuff?
Of which maybe more later. They say an external provider should be involved and it shouldn't be done in-house.
It's not been roundly dismissed, though, has it?
No, and some people are really welcoming these changes. One of them will be speaking to you in about an hour's time. His name's Peter Neighbour, and he runs he runs home care services for the elderly in Watford. He believes that the new National Care Certificate will raise standards across the industry, and he said that care is often seen as a job that people fall into as a stopgap and not as a career. He wants to change that.
08459 455 555. If you've got anything you want to add to that, although I suspect, I don't know, maybe you will. I don't know.
What needs to change with care workers, if you've got any criticism? If you are a care worker, what do you think about this?
I've hinted at something that's going on in my life at the moment, which I won't say much more about, but blimey, there's some dodgepots out there working.
And it's happened in the
care homes.
past, it's not the first time.
Here's some dodgepots out there. Now listen, you've just given me a record. I'm not going to play the song that I think you wanted me to play. I'm going to play a better song from it.
You don't know what I wanted you to play.
Which did you want me to play?
Not Puppet on a String.
OK, which one did you want me to play?
Always Something There to Remind Me.
That's the incorrect answer.
Oh.
This one.
You disappoint me.
Venus must have heard my plea. She has sent someone along for me. I have waited a long, long time for somebody to call mine, and at last he's come along. Baby, oh, nothing can go wrong. We meet every night at 8, and I don't get home till 8. I say to myself each day, baby, oh, long, long live love. True love must be the greatest thing. I know now I sing of the moon and stars above. How I love to be in love. We meet every night at 8, and I don't get home till 8. I say to myself each day, baby, oh, long, long live love. Now of one thing I'm more than sure. Since love come, I don't want more than to kiss him every night. Makes everything alright. We meet every night at 8, and I don't get home till 8. I say to myself each day, baby, oh, long, long live love. We meet every night at 8, and I don't get home till 8. I say to myself each day, baby, oh, long, long live love. Long, long live love.
Oh, yes! Oh, she's good! She's good. Is she? What did you say about Justin Dealey? He used to go out with her.
Say that again.
What did you say about Justin Dealey?
Oh, in his 2 for 1, he's putting up Sandy Shore with Matt Monro, if you want to tune.
Oh, Matt Monro, the singing milkman. Matt Monro, the singing milkman. Name of Matt Monro's son, Kelly?
I know.
The singing milkman.
Matt Monro Jr.
Matt Monro Jr. I don't get the junior. I don't get it. It's an American thing.
Yeah.
Matt Monro was very, very British.
I heard Frank Sinatra Jr. the other day being
Yeah.
interviewed
Oh.
very well. It wasn't an easy interview
Yeah.
by Simon Mayo, who was trying his best. Simon Mayo tried to get him to pick one of his favourite songs, and he refused.
Well, do you know what? Do you know what? I didn't know much about Frank Sinatra Jr. until the other week. Did you know he was kidnapped in 1964?
No.
He was kidnapped in
1964?
or 65.
Or 65.
And do you know who was questioned about the kidnapping?
John Belushi.
Dean from Jan and Dean. He'd helped the kidnappers without realising he'd helped the kidnappers, and he'd got some of the money.
I've done that. Not kidnappers,
What?
but a mob.
Ever helped a criminal
Yes.
without realising
Yeah.
it? I'm talking to the listener.
I have, yeah.
But I'm talking to the listener. Have you ever helped a criminal without realising it?
No.
So, no. I'm
have.
looking.
Yeah.
No, I'm not looking at you. I'm certainly not looking at you. I'm looking directly ahead. Have you, dear listener, and I'm pointing at you, ever helped a criminal unwittingly and had to pay the consequences, the
No,
price?
I haven't,
I'm really
actually.
not asking either of you to.
Because you know
two
I
aren't
did.
here.
Oh!
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Looking at the CCTV cameras, it's not looking too bad on the M1 in both directions. The A1M has roadworks between junction 1 for the M25 and junction 2 for Welham Green, but there are no queues through there so far this morning. In Hitchin on Cambridge Road, there's roadworks at Woolgrove Road, which could get busy later on. And in High Wycombe on the A40 Oxford Road, there's still a lane closed in both directions at Temple Street, which could cause some delays in the morning rush. On the trains, Chiltern Railway have resumed a normal service again between Leamington Spa and Banbury. That's because of the closure for a couple of months with the landslide. It's running back to time again. And on the train departure boards, the 6:34 train from Luton to Bedford is delayed by 15 minutes. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
6:17. It's Friday, the 13th of March. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. A woman whose father died following neglect at a Bedford care home says new training for staff won't deal with the problem. Following the arrest of a 13-year-old schoolboy, the detective leading the hunt for the attackers of Watford football fan Nick Cruis has urged those responsible to do the right thing and hand themselves in. And the Queen will lead the nation at a service at St Paul's Cathedral this morning to remember the 453 servicemen and women who died in the Afghan conflict.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Coming up, Dealey's got beef with Deer.
If you've missed any of the programmes here on BBC Three Counties Radio, you've missed things like this.
It starts off with going to a needle exchange and there's support workers in there.
In that treatment centre, it still hadn't got to the nub of the problem.
It hadn't, no.
But there is a way you can hear it all again.
Lee from Luton began drinking at the age of 12.
I'd wake up in the morning, the first thing on my mind would be a drink.
bbc.co.uk/Three Counties Radio.
My dad came to see me on that prison sentence and he told me he was dying of terminal cancer and he wanted to make things right before he died. He took me back into his home. He done his best and the bottom line was I still couldn't stop using drugs.
Allowing you to listen to what you missed. bbc.co.uk/Three Counties Radio.
Fairy tales can come true, it can happen to you if you're young at heart. For it's hard, you will find, to be narrow of mind if you're young at heart. You can go to extremes with impossible schemes. You can laugh when your dreams fall apart at the seams, and life gets more exciting with each passing day. And love is either in your heart or on its way. Don't you know that it's worth every treasure on earth to be young at heart? For as rich as you are, it's much better by far to be young at heart. And if you should survive to 105, look at all you'll derive out of being alive. And here is the best part, you had a head start. If you are among the very young at heart. And if you should survive to 105, think of all you'll derive out of being alive. And here is the best part, you've had a head start if you are among the very young at
And breathe.
Oh, I'm feeling warmed up. I am feeling warmed up, which makes me think. Hang on a second. I'm ready. I'm ready for it. Hang on. Nobody go anywhere.
Okay.
Nobody go anywhere. Today could be the day, Justin.
Come on.
Hang on a second. Where is he?
You are vibed up this morning,
Mate,
aren't you?
here we go. Right, I think today's the day. Excuse me. Started too high. Started too high, Justin. Started too high.
Shame.
Sorry?
Shame.
I started too high. Well, try again on Monday.
Okay.
I started too high, Catherine.
You did. I could
Is
tell
that
it was
17 seconds? That day. I'm out.
can't keep up with Withers.
I cannot hold it in front of Withers. It withers.
It's a bit like building up for a London Marathon. You got to take each day as it comes. You got to build up to that big moment of beating Withers.
And I'm not sure it's right unless you're on exactly the same note as he is.
Oh no,
it's not a
mate.
fair race.
No, exactly. He's cheating. Justin,
yes,
you don't like a lot of animals. Let's go through the list of animals and creatures you dislike.
Let me stop you there. I love animals. I just don't like arrogant animals.
Doesn't like their attitude.
Let's hear the list of the arrogant animals according to Dealey. No, so you're Noah. The animals are coming on 2 by 2. You've got the Dealey guest list.
Yep.
Tell us which ones you'd let in and which ones you'd say, I'm sorry, you're too arrogant, you're not coming on my ark.
OK, to give you some recent examples, I would certainly put a Black Panther on that list. The thing about Black Panthers, and I've said this before, I'll say it openly on air this morning, they think they're it, but they've got nothing to back it up. Compare a panther to a tiger.
Yeah.
A tiger is out there, he's attractive, he's handsome, but he wants to be seen. A panther seems to think they've got everything, so why go and hide?
We finish at 9, Justin.
Yep.
So is the panther getting on the ark or not?
No.
OK.
What if you just had a word with him about his, attitude and the way he carries himself? Could he be redeemed?
You can't change history.
Why don't you let the panther... Yeah. He's right. Well... Imagine Dealey with a time machine. Why don't you let the panther on?
Yep.
If he becomes arrogant, you toss him off.
No, it doesn't work like that. You've got to look at it over centuries. They've always behaved like this. They're never going to change.
OK, so the panther's not on. Which other creatures wouldn't get on?
I'll give you an example of one more. A monkey. A monkey wouldn't get on.
Come on, everyone loves a monkey.
No, I'll tell you what. I'll give you an example. I took my girlfriend to London Zoo at the weekend, and a monkey had the arrogance and audacity to bite her finger.
Wow. She might have monkey rabies.
She offered the digit, though, if I recall.
No, she was posing for a photograph. Next thing you know, a monkey comes across. I think, oh, that's a finger. I think I'll take a bite. No, you won't, son. Clear off.
Has she developed any monkey-like powers? Because, was it a radioactive monkey? Because this is how these things start.
It was a cheeky monkey, that's all I know.
OK. What about dolphins?
It depends where they're from.
You've changed your tune.
Oh, right. So it's all about the provenance.
Yeah,
Bit racist, that, mate.
No, not
You're
at
like the Nigel Farage of the animal judgment world.
I've come into contact with dolphins before in Portugal.
You like dolphins, you wouldn't want one living near you?
Yeah, that's true.
OK. Meerkats?
I love meerkats. Love meerkats.
They're so nosy.
So nosy, so friendly. Love those guys.
OK. What about deer?
Deer. Well, normally I would say absolutely yes. They can come on my boat any time. I've always been fascinated.
It's not a boat, mate. It's an ark.
OK, it's an ark. They can come with me any time.
Yes.
I've always been a big fan of deer. I think locally in Hertfordshire and Ashridge, there's so many of them there. And as a kid, I remember seeing them in the snow.
Magical.
Beautiful, beautiful creatures.
But what's going on in Letchworth? Because the residents there are Well, they're not quite so keen on the deer.
Yeah, it's the latest in a number of arrogant animal stories.
Yeah. He actually said that out loud on the radio. Does he know that?
Yep.
Yeah,
There
he
have
does.
been a number of reports, and this is incredible, of so-called bold deers venturing away from their traditional woods and into more urban surroundings.
Now, I have trouble with the way you people speak. You're saying bold, not bald.
Bold. Yes, bold.
Bold.
Mm-hmm.
Bold.
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 Bold. According to reports of local residents in Letchworth, in the Norton Common area, and yes, what you're about to hear we believe is true, one deer had the audacity to make itself comfortable in somebody's kitchen.
What, sat down by the breakfast bar?
Yeah,
Kick him back.
Yep, in the kitchen,
Flipping it.
trying to find food. Now, when the lady returned home and disturbed it, the deer ran clear and then bumped into the lady.
Hey,
Yeah.
Gave her a shove.
Can you believe that?
Yeah.
We're also being told that they're taken to roaming the streets looking for food, very similar to urban foxes.
Why are they behaving like this, Justin? What's going on? I know you're an animal psychologist in your spare time. Tell me what the hell is going on with these creatures.
Well, this problem was raised by local councillor David Kearns at a meeting recently.
Good work, David.
Now, he said, and old David, great memories, he said that he remembered deer from his youth being smaller and more timid. Now they seem to be braver, clearly. It's a trend that we're seeing across the UK, according to deer experts. Apparently, as the deer population grows, it affects their behaviour and forces them to venture further away from crowded, wooded areas. And just lastly, there have even been suggestions of reintroducing the lynx to the ecosystem.
What, for 15-year-old boys to wear? Oh, you mean the actual animal?
Yeah, to the ecosystem to naturally control the deer population. This story is true, it's happening locally, and you've got more on your show this morning.
I went, dealing with all the big stories, I went to a Japanese island where the deer are tame, and as soon as you step off the boat, you're surrounded by about 20 deer. Great fun.
Yeah.
It's a laugh. Until you have a picnic. And we had 15. Me and my wife had a picnic in the middle of the woods on a picnic area, and we were surrounded by 15 deer. She was terrified and climbed up on the table, and they ate all of our crisps.
Wow.
Yeah.
You see, from my experience, I've got nothing but good stories about deer. You've got a negative story. People in Letchworth going home, finding deer in their kitchen. It's unbelievable.
The thing about the deer, and it's the same with children, they look so cute.
Yeah.
They look as if butter wouldn't melt, but really they're just out for all they can get.
Well, clearly, by the sounds of it. Yeah.
Justin, we're going to be talking this morning. Have you ever accidentally, or without your knowledge, helped a criminal?
Mm-hmm. I have.
I really know you have,
Have you,
Catherine.
Kelly?
If we have time...
No, I know.
For goodness sakes. If we have time, we'll get your stories or otherwise later. Justin, you ever helped a criminal, mate?
No, I haven't.
No, not...
I have.
Justin.
Have a care.
I'll speak to you later, Just.
Yeah, cheers.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Looking at the M25 on the speed sensors, and there are no delays showing up there at the moment. And the A1M has roadworks between the M25 and junction 2 for Welham Green. That's not causing any delays at the moment, but will get busy later on during the rush probably. In Neaston on the A406 North Circular Road, it's starting to build up between the M1 at the Staples Corner flyover and Brentfield Road at Wembley. And in Aylesbury, having a look on the speed sensors on the A413 Buckingham Road. It's looking fine through the roadworks after Watermead. In Milton Keynes, the A421 Standing Way has roadworks at the Kingston roundabout, which caused some long delays yesterday, so it may cause some delays again this morning. And looking at the train departure boards, no major delays coming up in the next 15 minutes. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Across beds, hearts and bugs.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 6:30. I'm Simon Oxley. A woman whose father died following neglect at a Bedford care home says new training for staff won't deal with the problem. Following the arrest of a 13-year-old schoolboy, the detective leading the hunt for the attackers of Watford football fan Nick Crewis has urged those responsible to do the right thing and hand themselves in. The Queen will lead the nation at a service at St Paul's Cathedral this morning to remember the 453 servicemen and women who died in the Afghan conflict, and 3 more men are in custody following a string of knife-point robberies at shops in the Luton and Dunstable area.
Three Counties Sports.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Reigning champion Lewis Hamilton finished second behind Mercedes teammate Nico Rosberg in first practice for Sunday's season-opening Australian Grand Prix. The Milton Keynes Red Bulls of Daniel Ricciardo and Daniel Kvyat were 10th and 11th. Second practice is taking place now. Rosberg says he can challenge the Hertfordshire driver for the title.
I can still improve as a race driver. I still have some years ahead of me until the racing peak age comes. I've been working with a team, I'm so dependent on the team, so I need to strengthen my position in the team and really get more of their support.
England's cricketers are playing Afghanistan in their final World Cup match, having already been eliminated. A short while ago, Afghanistan was 62 for 4 from 25 overs, but rain has stopped play. In tomorrow's football, Watford host Reading. The Hornets will check on the fitness of striker Odion Ighalo and midfielder Alman Abdi, but Tommy Hoban is suspended. Watford are one of 4 teams level on points at the top of the Championship. Here's defender Craig Cathcart.
Yeah, well, me personally, I've never seen anything like it since I've been playing. It's been unbelievable sight, especially in the last few months. You usually get 1 or 2 teams that run away for this stage, but it's wide open from one all the way down to 7 positions.
Milton Keynes Dons go to Walsall, aiming to end a run of 3 successive defeats. Goalkeeper David Martin is fit again. Captain Dean Lewington returns from suspension. Wickham hosts promotion rival Shrewsbury. Luton go to Portsmouth. Hatters striker Paul Benson could be back in the squad 4 months after breaking his leg. And Stevenage are at Cambridge. In the Europa League, Everton won 2-1 at home to Dynamo Kiev in the first leg of their last 16 tie. And in racing, it's Gold Cup Day at the Cheltenham Festival. Retiring 19-time champion jockey AP McCoy rides Carlingford Lock in his final Gold Cup. BBC Three Counties News and Sport. The next full bulletin is at 7.
I've got a little kitty cat that never chases a mouse. All she wants to do all day is lounge around the house. She purrs when she needs me and I'm right at her command. But when I try to pet her now, she scratches at my hand. You know that's just like you, baby. Just like you, baby. It's just like you, baby. Just like you, baby. Oh, it's just like you, baby. Only wanna hurt me. That's just like you, baby. I bought my kitty all the milk my pockets would allow. Now she's the only cat in town that owns a private cow. I treat her like a princess instead of just a friend. But when I try to pet her now, she scratches me again. You know that's just like you, baby. Just like you, baby. That's just like you, baby. Just like you, baby. Oh, it's just like you, baby. Only wanna hurt me. That's just like you, baby. The next time that my kitty cat goes out the door to play, when she returns, she's going to learn the masters moved away. I've got to stop these goings on before it gets too late. No matter what I give to her, she don't appreciate. You know that's just like you, baby. Just like you, baby. That's just like you, baby. Just like you, baby. Oh, it's just like you, baby. Only wanna hurt me. Just like you, baby. Just like you, baby. It's just like you, baby. Just like you, baby. I only wanna hurt me. Just like you.
Hey, that was good. I like that. Who's that?
That is Lee Dorsey, and that's the other side. We played the other one from that record last week
I like
called
that.
Ride Your Pony.
What you got in the paper? Oh, OK, so you have actually helped a criminal. What happened?
Yeah, walking down the road with a bag of chips when I was about 15.
Yeah.
What, the chips?
Yeah, yes. Oh, boy, yeah. Can I just say, yes. Whoa, the chips. 15.
They really were
That is
delicious.
genuinely where that was coming from. I don't want any chips. Oh,
Yeah.
How old did you say? I wasn't listening.
About 15.
Oh, yeah.
Walking down the road with a bag of chips, minding my own business, a van pulls over.
Whoa.
Very friendly chap leans out. Excuse me,
Van.
can you tell me the way to a certain place? It was a youth club. I went, yeah, you're just down there. Go down there, down to the right. Do you want a chip? I offered him a chip as well.
Oh, mate.
Cocky, see? Didn't realise that in the back of that van was a mob with bats and apparently knives. They went down to the youth club and caused something of a rumpus.
Did people get a kicking because of you?
People got a kicking.
Wow. Kelly, you ever helped a crook?
Nope.
OK. 0844... We're not... I have to say this because some people are idiots. Not condoning crookery.
We're not talking about fencing.
We're not... well...
Or being a getaway driver. We're talking about those moments when you think, Our
first 2 video recorders, Betamax, were stolen goods. Stolen goods. And that's why I wasn't allowed to... we had a Betamax video in 1979. Wasn't allowed to tell anybody that we had one. We had to hide it behind the sofa because they were stolen goods.
Oh, my goodness.
Want to hear the man who told me I wasn't allowed to tell anyone? It was this dodge part. Listen.
This is Linda and Ruggs, your rave.
My dad.
Starting now. I'm H-A-B-B-Y.
And my mum, reluctantly...
I know I am, I'm sure I am, I'm H-A-B-B-Y. Where? H-A-B-B-Y.
Yeah, because he's going to be dealing in stolen goods a few years after this.
We're H-A-B-B-Y. Now we burst into that top song. H-R, puff and stuff. Come on.
Come on. I'm paying for this. They got 90 seconds.
Puff and stuff. Can't do a little because you can't do enough. Come and play with me.
Now, what he does, this is my sister is here, right? And she's got to be 6 months.
Oh, yeah. Go and get the baby.
Go and get the baby. And she don't want to play. She's having none of it. My dad...
Wait 1 minute.
This is the 70s, virtually threatens her.
To sing a song that won't go wrong. Come on, baby, let's us sing. Hey, sing into the microphone.
Sing.
Sing. Sing.
Someone say something.
Keep learning.
Is that just breathing?
Baby does nothing. Time's running out.
Well, we get out the... Go on, Faye. Go on. Quick. Sing, Faye. Sing. Sing. That's all. You get a smack in the ear.
Oh, you'll get a smack in the ear hole.
Tough love.
That's my dad, my mum and my dad. I love that, and I lost this for a bit. Look at this. This is when you could go into recording booths in the... Well, this would have been 1970. And actually make a record. And you go and sit... It's like a photo booth. You'd go in there, you'd put, I don't know, a shilling... And you'd sit in there and it would record... Because this is before we had tape recorders, of course. And it would record a record and you'd get a record. How on earth has that survived 45 years? That's
Go and get the baby. Go and get the baby.
That's my most treasured possession. I'd love that. And do you know what? Why has some enterprising young fool, with the rebirth of vinyl, why do you not get those... like King's Cross Station, or you know, I'd pump a fiver into one of those bad boys to get a record.
Forget your pianos and stuff, Chris. Get one of them in there.
Get a piano, a recording booth. I would put a few quid in that every day. What have you got in the papers,
Well,
Catherine?
this caught my eye. This is the Daily Express, page 11.
Yes.
MasterChef's garden diner faces demolition. Some people are right miserable so-and-sos, aren't they?
Yes.
This woman, Catherine Minshew, began...
Catherine what?
Minshew.
Minshew?
Minshew.
Minshew?
No, Minshew.
OK. Catherine Minshew.
She's got a shed at the bottom of the garden that she's kitted out as a little diner, and it's beautiful. She's got a little thatch roof and a chimney and everything. It's called The Studio. Seats 6 people on benches covered in reindeer hide. Bad news for reindeer there.
Well.
But diners eat from wooden plates and drink from handmade cups. But it's proved really popular. But council planners have told her she must now apply for retrospective permission. Miserable. It's really nice.
Well, hang on a second, though. If she hadn't... If she didn't have the permission to build it, you know if something is over a certain height, you've got to have permission.
It's a shed, though, isn't it?
It's not, though. It's over a certain height, mate.
It's a...
Look how tall it is.
Yeah.
I told you I wanted to get... When I lived in London, I wanted to get a log cabin. I wanted to get a log cabin so I could go there and work and be a writer. Yeah, I wanted to go and read magazines.
Be left alone.
And there is a specific height you can't build above. I then went and checked with my neighbours, and they got all funny, even though I could have just built it without actually checking with them. And I thought, do you know what? Let's just move out of London.
Do you have the log cabin now?
Is that a spider-infected banana in your pocket? Mum finds deadly pest whose bite gives men a 4-hour erection.
But there is bad news. It then kills them.
Yeah, but what a way to go. A mum opened a bag of Tesco bananas. It was Tesco, guys. and found deadly spiders with a bite that gives men a 4-hour erection. And what that means is, kids, they can build IKEA furniture very, very quickly. Maria, just so there's no awkward questions in the car. Maria Layton, 43, was scared stiff. Oh,
stop it.
Oh, Adam Aspinall, who wrote this.
Cheeky boy.
When confronted with eggs from the Brazilian wandering spider, which was starting to hatch. The mum of 2 from Bristol said, I was so scared. I don't like spiders at the best of times, but have read about these and was very frightened. Maria followed online advice telling her to put the creatures in a sealed container in the freezer. Tesco apologised and asked her to return the fruit, which was farmed in Costa Rica. The spider is the world's deadliest, but its venom is being tested as a potential impotency cure. Impotency.
Yes.
What does being impotent mean, then?
It's the same thing.
Smelly.
But potent is about power, isn't it? So it's lack of power.
This guy. What you got?
Loneliness is as bad as being a heavy smoker, apparently.
Nah.
I don't think so.
Nah, you can always cheer yourself up some fags. Yeah? No? It doesn't even make sense, and I'm laughing inside. Not out loud, that'd be arrogant.
Loneliness is as big a killer as obesity and as dangerous to health as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. That's not heavy smoking, is it? 15? According to a study of 3 million people, while the elderly are more likely to live alone. Hang on a minute. What you mean is being elderly is as dangerous as being a heavy smoker.
If you're old, you're more likely to die.
Younger adults are likely to have their life expectancy cut due to growing isolation, the researchers said. Loneliness is defined as living alone, and I quite like being on my own. And social isolation is being lonely even when surrounded by lots of people.
Loneliness and being on your own and loneliness are completely different things, man.
They're talking about being lonely even when in a crowd.
Okay.
That's sad. I wouldn't try it. I wouldn't try smoking just to see if it was worse than being lonely.
I certainly wouldn't start smoking. Do you know what? If you're 85, you might as well start smoking. You might as well, mightn't you? You're not going to die from smoking.
Do crack or something.
Well, Kelly Beck, can we have a word with her off air, please? For goodness sakes.
It's the little old lady from Pasadena. The little old lady from Pasadena. Go, Granny, go, Granny, go, Granny, go. Has a pretty little flower bed of white gardenia. Go, Granny, go, Granny, go, Granny, go. But parked in a rickety old garage is a brand new shiny red super stock Dodge. And everybody's saying that there's nobody meaner than the little old lady from Pasadena. She drives real fast and she drives real hard. She's the terror of Colorado Boulevard. It's the little old lady from Pasadena. If you see her on the street, don't try to choose her. Go, Granny, go, Granny, go, Granny, go. You might drive a goer, but you'll never lose her. Go, Granny, go, Granny, go, Granny, go. Well, she's gonna get a ticket now sooner or later, 'cause she can't keep her foot off the accelerator. And everybody's saying that there's nobody meaner than the little old lady from Pasadena. She drives real fast and she drives real hard. She's the terror of Colorado Boulevard. It's the little old lady from Pasadena. Go, Granny, go, Granny, go, Granny, go. Go, Granny, go, Granny, go, Granny, go. The guys could race her for miles around, but she'll give him a leg and she'll shut him down. And everybody's saying that there's nobody meaner than the little old lady from Pasadena. She drives real fast and she drives real hard. She's the terror of Colorado Boulevard. It's the little old lady from Pasadena. Go, Granny, go, Granny, go, Granny, go.
Travel news for beds, cards, and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
On the M1 towards London, it's starting to look very slow just before junction 9 for Redbourne, and on the M25 anti-clockwise, it's starting to build up between junction 20 for Kings Langley and 16 for the M40. In Finchley on the North Circular Road, that's looking quite slow now between the East End Road Tunnel and the A1 at Henley's Corner, and looking elsewhere in Milton Keynes on the A421 Standing Way on the speed sensors, it's moving fine at the moment through the roadworks at the Kingston roundabout at the moment, but expect delays there later on this morning. On the trains, Chiltern Railway have resumed a normal service between Leamington Spa and Banbury after the line was closed for a landslide for a couple of months. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Sammy. 6:45. It's Friday the 13th of March. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. A woman whose father died following neglect at a Bedford care home says new training for staff won't deal with the problem. Following the arrest of a 13-year-old schoolboy, the detective leading the hunt for the attackers of Watford football fan Nick Crewis has urged those responsible to do the right thing and hand themselves in. And police in Milton Keynes are urging the public not to approach a wanted man who escaped from custody. I have no idea what he looks like or what his name is or anything, but just
don't go anywhere near a stranger.
Don't go anywhere near a stranger. Here's the weather.
Beds, Herts and Bucks weather.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Hello, a very good morning to you. Well, we've got a rain band to the west of us. If you imagine a line from, say, Milton Keynes all the way down to Portsmouth, if you're further west of that line, you've probably had some rain already. You could see more over the next hour or so. But further east, it's a much drier picture, and we will see it stay dry for the rest of the day here. The rain band is moving its way westwards rather than eastwards. There'll be plenty of sunny spells developing too, so we're going to get away with what will be a pretty nice day once more. A bit cooler than yesterday. Highs of 10, possibly 11 Celsius, 52 in Fahrenheit. Bit of a chilly easterly breeze setting up a little bit later on through the afternoon. Overnight tonight it will stay dry, it will be quite chilly, temperatures down to 2 or 3 degrees. And over the weekend, disappointingly cold, particularly when you compare it to last weekend when we saw figures into the mid-teens. But this weekend I think we'll be lucky to get over 7 or 8 degrees actually. Cool and cloudy, should stay mostly dry, the risk of 1 or 2 showers on Sunday and a very cold wind. That's the forecast.
Every weekday morning.
Coming up at 9 on the Big Phone In this morning, is it a good idea to make jobless teenagers work for their benefits? How would you like this country to stand up to President Putin? Are you surprised to see British people being blatantly racist?
The JVS Show.
I think we've got to get over this issue about racism doesn't exist. It has existed. It will probably carry on existing.
What I wanted to say is they've got this completely the wrong way around. You know, that is also true. That is also true.
You will always get some, but they are such a minority.
I think the man's a buffoon. Get him up, get him out of bed, give him a sense of purpose.
The JVS Show.
Do you think we have got to, as a country, start taking this issue more seriously?
Every weekday morning on BBC Three Counties Radio.
Morning, Webby.
Morning, Mr. Lee.
What you got for us, boss?
I'm just thinking that weather's a bit grim to start with, isn't it, for the weekend?
I thought it was a bit talk of arrogance, and we're celebrating and naming arrogant people this morning. I thought it was a bit arrogant of Rizzini there.
Disappointingly cold. What does she know about my expectations?
I like it cold. I like it like that. So I'm afraid. By the way, if you want to phone in and celebrate arrogance, 08459 455 555. What you got for us, Webbs?
Well, basically, you was on about when you were 85.
Yep.
Killing yourself. Well, if I was 85, you know where I'd be going?
Thailand?
No, Tesco's.
Oh, why? Why Tesco's?
To buy some of them spiders.
Oh.
Hey, Webby by name, idiot by nature. No, I'm joking. Thank you, Webby. Naughty spiders, Justin.
Yeah, don't like spiders. They also are arrogant.
I tell you what, let's try and compile a top 10 list today of the most arrogant things, people, creatures, buildings, towns that we can... anything.
Towns as well.
Towns? Oh, mate. London is an arrogant town, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what.
Isn't it?
I'll tell you what, I'm going to put this out there, and people will either love me or hate me for saying this, but in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, not that of the BBC, Milton Keynes can be a bit of an arrogant town.
Tell me why, mate.
Because they go around claiming to be a city. No. They're not a city, they're a town. They're arrogance.
Sir. Oh, sir. Sir. Sir.
You get me?
Sir. Marvellous work, sir. Marvellous. He's right. They do. And if you call it a town, they get stroppy. And if you call it a city, people outside of Milton Keynes get stroppy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
OK. Well, we could do arrogant town. Paris is a very arrogant town.
Très arrogant.
Yeah.
I would say Los Angeles is very arrogant as well, whereas New York is kind of down to earth. New York is...
New York knows.
Yeah, New York knows. It's the Bay, man. We're the Big Apple. What are you going to do about it? Whereas Los Angeles, we make movies, we got movies and stars, and we used to be called Hollywoodland. Have you seen the sign when it said Hollywoodland?
No.
It used to be Hollywoodland.
No, it never.
I swear to God this is true. I will Google it. It's amazing. It used to be called... The Hollywood sign used to say Hollywoodland, and at some point, let's say the 40s, the land part fell down. I swear that's true. I tell you what, Justin, let me play a song.
Yeah.
That you're going to love.
That you're going to love.
Oh, come on.
And then we'll get back and we'll talk to you about whatever we're going to talk about.
What a tune.
Thank you, mate.
Cheers.
My choice.
I'm begging.
We like that.
Time box.
Try that again.
Time box.
There we go, ladies and gentlemen.
The time box.
It was time box, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much indeed.
If you didn't like that, then I don't like you. So no.
Okay. Have you ever helped criminals, Justin?
No, but wow, what a track that was.
Thank you, mate.
Incredible. Here's something for you.
Yes.
Cover versions that top the original.
Oh.
There's one straight away for you.
Godfather 2.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no, sorry, I thought you meant sequels that are better than the
You
original.
can go sequels, you can go movie, you can do songs, you can do
Scott has
whatever.
tweeted us. I've helped a criminal. A bloke... No, he genuinely... a bloke said he had a bad back and couldn't get these roof tiles in his van. He offered me and a mate 20 quid to put them in his van.
Oh, no.
He disappeared for half an hour, came back when we filled it up. He gave us 20 quid and drove off. Then we realised he'd nicked them from outside. No, Scott, he hadn't nicked them from outside. You'd nicked them from outside.
I've just thought of another one I'd done.
Yeah, go on.
I used to work in a shop.
Yeah.
And I was downstairs, and this really nice lady came in. and said she needed my help to do a little trick on a friend. She needed me to write out a card for her so that it wasn't her handwriting. She was a really nice sort of older lady as well. And so I did that. She sort of ushered me into a corner and I did that, and she was really nice. And she said, haven't you got lovely fingernails? And it kept me talking for a while.
Your fingernails are horrible. You should have known then that she was lying to you.
They were nice then. I didn't play the guitar badly then. But now I realise, or within a day or so I realised, that while she had me talking, there was a fella with a bin bag loading up from the rails and chucking them up the stairs, chucking all the goods up the stairs. And there was another fella up the stairs grabbing the bin bags and legging it. So,
ladies and gentlemen, we've got gold so far. Have you ever helped a crook? Arrogant things, places or people, and cover versions that are better than the original. Do you know what I'd really like in here? Maybe we can get this for the new studios. Oh no, we won't be moving in them until 2017. Maybe we can get it. What I'd really like here, this is genuine. I don't know, is this possible? How much budget do we have on this show, guys?
Big.
Tenner.
It's big. You speak to the right people, it's big.
Okay. A whiteboard. And we can write all this stuff down. All these topics down, and they stay there for the whole week.
I don't know if it's that big.
There's one upstairs.
Well,
no one uses it. Let's whip it.
Let's whip it out. Let's have it down here. If anyone... no, don't do it now, Catherine.
Go and get it now.
Well, no, don't do it now.
Come on, because I can't be bothered in about 5 minutes. I've got the idea now.
Well, I'll tell you what we can do.
You had the idea.
We're going to speak to Just. We're going to talk to him. We're going to find out what mission we're sending him on. Then you can go up and make a cough.
No.
And then when you're bringing the coffees down...
No.
You... Sorry?
I think you think she's me.
Which one's which now? Which one of you is Dashi and which one's Sophie? Guys?
Dashi, great days.
She was good.
Ever helped a crook? Arrogant things, cover versions, 08459 455 555.
And what we're sending Dealey out on.
Oh, yeah, and what we're sending Dealey out on.
Boss, before you start, what's your flavour?
Sorry?
What's your flavour?
I don't know.
Is your flavour a clown with a frying pan?
Yes.
Yes,
Is that yes?
Yes, it is.
Yes. Okay,
yes,
yes,
it is.
yes, okay.
Yes.
You carry on.
Thank you very much indeed. Hey, excited. But I tell you what,
Pirate.
Nick Coffer is getting all the good guests at the moment.
Oh, Jimmy Wibb on his programme.
Well, guess who he's got next week?
Go on.
Ray Davis from the Kinks.
What?
Ray Davis from the Kinks.
Ray
Davis from the Kinks.
What's going on?
That's good, isn't it? He's getting some good guests. Yeah. I heard a bit of the. I had a tiny bit of the Jimmy Webb yesterday. It was a good interview. Very good interview. Well, don't worry. We're getting a monkey next week, guys.
Huh?
We're getting a monkey next week.
Are we?
Yeah, we're getting a monkey on the show.
What, a real one?
Yeah, dressed up as a butler. He's going to serve us drinks. No, we'll have Mickey Dolenz on the show next week.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, guys, you want some of that pie?
Yeah.
You want some of that
Brilliant.
pie?
Brilliant.
Excellent. Well, okay, yeah, the Pirate Girl. Let's do this, Justin.
Was it in the Sun?
The Pirate Girl. It was in page 15 of the Sun. Yes.
Right. So this is what happens. Teachers, they look out in a sea of little faces, and sometimes, if they're human, they'll forget who's who, forget names. This teacher, Mr. Davis, deputy head teacher, has been slammed for calling a youngster wearing an eye patch Pirate Girl when he forgot her name. It was in front of the entire school. Jonah Davis didn't know 6-year-old Alicia Blanco Clements' name, and he shouted to her at the end of assembly. Shy Alicia has to cover her right eye to help the vision in her weaker left one, and is terrified of being teased by classmates.
She's wearing an eye patch, ladies and gentlemen. She's 6. He didn't know his name. He went, Pirate Girl.
Oh, I think that's terrible.
She's shy, she's nervous, she's 6, and her mum's exploiting her mercilessly in the newspapers. Who's the real criminal here? Not this teacher.
Come on,
You
boss.
can't call her. She's 6.
Pirate Girl. Kids love pirates.
You can't initiate the teacher bants until they're about 14, 15.
What's that pirate show? Backdoor Smash. What's that pirate show with the young girl?
Gem.
Pirate show?
There's a pirate show for kiddies. Smash and Grab.
No. Swashbucklers.
The Crown Swashbucklers. Kids love pirates.
Yeah, but they're dressed up as pirates. This is a kid who was dealing with a problem with her eye. She's 6.
We can't make fun of disabled people now. Can we?
Hey, do you remember what happened when you took my 3-year-old Thomas away?
Was
that fun bants?
That was very. I took little Un's hummus for a little bit of fun bants. She burst into tears. I felt terrible because of her. So yeah, she humiliated me in front of company, and I need to have a word with her about that. Justin, yes, Justin. Take this to the streets. Is there anything wrong with this? I think
yes, there is.
Really?
Yeah, I think there is. Genuinely, I think there is.
Listen, I've got to go to travel.
Yeah.
Can we talk about this later?
Yeah, no problem.
You're both wrong, though.
All right, mate.
Thank you. Ta-ta.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's starting to get busier on the M1 southbound towards London. It's building up just before junction 9 for Redbourne, and it's also looking quite slow on the A5 southbound towards the M1 junction 9 for Redbourne. On the M25 anti-clockwise, it's building up between junction 20 for Kings Langley and 16 for the M40. And having a look at the A1 southbound, there are queues starting to build up from the Holiday Inn towards Barnet Lane at Stirling Corner. In Amersham, having a look at the speed sensors on the A416 Sycamore Road, there's roadworks at Hill Avenue, but they're not causing any delays at the moment. Samantha Breath, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Ray Davies, that would be good, wouldn't it? I say good. I also mean good luck. I've interviewed him. Good luck with that. Don't mention the K word. Lots coming up on the show. Can we get your list of arrogant people, places and things, please?
Local and vocal across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 7 o'clock. I'm Simon Oxley. The headlines: criticism of new care certificate after Bedford death. Police say CCTV will identify attackers of Watford football fan, and public urge not to approach wanted man in Milton Keynes.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
A woman whose father died following neglect at a Bedford care home says new training for staff won't deal with the problem. Parkinson's and dementia sufferer James Stewart died last year after he didn't get his medication at the Manton Heights care home. Kirsty Bourne says the new national care certificate being introduced next month is a waste of time.
It's going to make no difference whatsoever. And quite frankly, I haven't met a care worker who didn't know how to make a cup of tea or clean up behind someone and who hasn't actually done it with compassion. That's not where the problem is. The problem lies far higher up.
Following the arrest of a 13-year-old schoolboy, the detective leading the hunt for the attackers of Watford football fan Nick Crewis has urged those responsible to do the right thing and hand themselves in. Detective Chief Inspector Chris Hansen said they had clear CCTV which would allow them to single out those who attacked the 44-year-old from Hemel Hempstead after last Saturday's game at Wolves. Mr Crewis remains in a critical condition in hospital. Police in Milton Keynes are urging the public not to approach a wanted man they're trying to trace. 47-year-old Patrick McCarthy was last seen at around 5 o'clock yesterday afternoon at Woughton-on-the-Green. Officers say McCarthy escaped from custody and was last seen in a suit and tie. The 453 servicemen and women who died during the campaign in Afghanistan will be remembered at a service this morning at St Paul's Cathedral. The Queen will be among those attending. None of the police officers involved in the investigation into the Rochdale child sex abuse scandal will face misconduct proceedings. However, an internal investigation by Greater Manchester Police concluded that there were a number of significant failures in its handling of allegations of abuse. More from Robert Hall.
9 men were eventually jailed for their part in the abuse. The police say mistakes have been corrected and lessons learnt. They hope that publication of this report will convince any victim of abuse that they will be taken seriously.
3 more men are in custody following a string of knife-point robberies at shops in the Luton and Dunstable area. A 27-year-old man from Luton and a 32-year-old from Dunstable have been arrested on suspicion of robbery. A 27-year-old from Luton has been arrested on suspicion of witness intimidation. 2 other men from St Albans have been released on police bail. Plans for the Dunstable Northern Bypass are going on public display today. Work on the road linking the A5 to the M1 is already underway. Exhibitions are taking place in Chorlton Village today and in Dunstable tomorrow. In sport, reigning champion Lewis Hamilton finished second behind Mercedes teammate Nico Rosberg in first practice for Sunday's season-opening Australian Grand Prix. Second practice is coming to a close around now. The weather, some light rain at first, but then a dry day with sunny spells, a maximum temperature 11 degrees Celsius. And you can get the latest news and sport online at bbc.co.uk/3 counties.
Morning. Thank you, Simon. Busy show, busy show. What have we got so far? Let me have a hang on. Ever helped a criminal? Arrogant things, places, people, animals? And which cover versions are better than the original? 08459 455 555 is the phone number if you want to give us a call.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
You can send us a text as well if you so desire. 81333, start your text 3CR. Ever helped a crook? We're not condoning it. You've got to say that because we're the BBC. Not condoning criminal activity, but sometimes you do something and a bit later you go, oh, do you know what? I don't think that person had the best intentions at heart. I think I might have done something a little bit naughty. 08459 455 555, and we're compiling the top 10 list of arrogant things, places and people. We've got arrogant places. Paris. Ay, what an arrogant city. And Milton Keynes, suggested by Justin Dealey, as an arrogant town. What with it not being a city? It was. I don't get the Milton Keynes new city. Oh, I've got something, Catherine, that's arrogant. Oh, and this annoys me. London Luton Airport. No, you're not. You're Luton Airport. What an arrogant thing. You're not. If I was Japanese or Chinese and I turned up to London Luton Airport, I'd expect to be in London, not, what, about 30 miles away from London?
I've got one for you.
Yeah.
Ibiza, the whole place.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Reckons it's brilliant.
Yeah.
Reckons it's really cool.
Yeah.
And, you know, he likes its music and it doesn't wear very much.
Yeah.
It's just a hole.
Yeah, it's a dump. Arrogant places, please. Arrogant people, arrogant things, and certainly arrogant animals. 08459 455 555. Training for new care workers coming into force next month won't stop elderly people being neglected and abused. That's according to Kirsty Bourne, whose father didn't receive his Parkinson's medication for his entire 2-month stay at a Bedford care home. Well, we'll speak to her a little bit later on in the show. But first, I'm joined by Peter Neighbour, who runs Home Instead Senior Care in Watford. Morning, Peter.
Morning, Ian.
This National Care Certificate, what exactly does it entail? And in your opinion, is it a good idea?
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. I think the main thing it does is it brings together health and social care for the first time with one introductory training plan. Because the problem has been, up until now, health and social care have been completely separate. And I think if we want to start addressing the problems that we've got with the elderly in our community and the way that they're looked after, we need to make sure that the same people that look after them in hospital are trained in exactly the same way as the people that look after them at home.
Isn't some of this, though, a little bit obvious? I mean, a lot of it is to do with privacy and dignity, communication. It's very basic care stuff, isn't it? It's not particularly advanced.
No, I think a lot of it should be obvious, and most of it is common sense. But that's not to say that there aren't things around that which need to be trained properly and need to be assessed. And I'm sure you'll agree that there are a lot of people out there that you know, maybe look at things in slightly different ways, and it's good that if you have got everybody looking at it in the same way. I mean, it's not going to solve everything, but I think it's a start.
No, you're right. My mum is in a care home, and some pretty unpleasant things that have just been uncovered as happening there, and this certificate wouldn't have stopped that. Would you have to have this certificate to get a job in the care industry, or is it kind of voluntary?
No, it's you're going to have it. All homes and domiciliary care companies are monitored by the Care Quality Commission, and they will be looking to see that all staff are properly trained and trained up to the standards in this certificate.
Okay, so it's not perfect, but it's a start. It's a step in the right direction. Do you think?
Yeah, it's a step in the right direction, but ultimately, most people that are in care want to do a good job and do a good job.
Yeah.
If you have problems such as the ones we've just been alluding to on the news, they tend to they start at the top. It's about being well led and well run and well managed.
Oh, that's an interesting way of looking at it. So you're saying that the actions of those, and I don't mean this in an insulting way, but those lower down the chain, i.e. the people with their hands on, literally, their behaviour is determined by whoever's sitting in the big desk and is in charge of everything.
Ultimately, yes, absolutely. It's leadership starts at the top, and you have to have the same ethos running through the whole business. If you've got a disconnect between the service that you're trying to do at the sharp end and the people at the top, then that's going to lead to problems. So you have to have the right systems and procedures and attitude. It's about attitude. It's about a culture.
And you're right, and always when we do these stories, it is important, I think, to flag up that the majority of people who are carers are doing it because they care, and the number of people who abuse that position, it's very, very tiny, isn't it?
It is, but that's the stuff that gets into the news.
Of course.
And quite rightly so. But we have a huge problem coming in this country in terms of we've got an ageing population which is living longer but is not healthy, and somebody's got to look after them. And trying to attract the right sort of people into care is going to be absolutely paramount. And therefore, we've got to start to make it seem more of a career, more professional. And I think a universal certificate is a step in the right direction. It's not the end of it, but it's a step.
Peter, I appreciate your time. Keep up the good work. Peter Neighbour, who runs Home Instead Senior Care in Watford, joined now by Frank Ursell, who is from the Registered Nursing Home Association. You campaign, or your group campaigns for better standards. You've got concerns about this National Care Certificate, have you, Frank?
Well, I don't think they're concerns as such. I just think it's some of the statements being made are overlooking the basic problem. This care certificate came out of the inquiry into mid-staffs. Now, Camilla Cavendish, who did that inquiry, found that the induction training for NHS workers wasn't up to scratch. The problem is that I don't think she properly looked at what was being done in the adult social care sector, which is where people are looked after at home or in care or nursing homes, where we've actually had a very robust induction standard from 2002, when the first time we had national training standards introduced, and that robust induction standard has been adequately policed by the regulators since then. Now the CQC, which was just been mentioned, so it isn't as if it is new, but it's very, very important, and we've treated it with that importance from 2002 when it was introduced. It's you asked the previous person. You asked about whether the staff had to have this standard before they could start working there, and the answer is no. It's a vocational standard. But I personally have been campaigning for a dozen years now to say that I think we ought to have some sort of educational standard which can be taught at schools and further education colleges, so that when people came into care, they came in armed with some sort of knowledge and information and skill. And I think this is a huge opportunity lost.
One of the problems is, Frank, that these people who work in care homes or home visit carers, they get paid so little, aren't they? So if they're going to have to exclude themselves from work while they go off training on a 2-year course, it's financially not worth it for them, is it?
Well, my educational thing wouldn't have been that long, but the current care certificate is meant to be taught in no more than 6 months. It's not retrospective. It will apply to everybody who starts work from the 1st of April this year. Current staff members have already been inducted to the current common induction standards, which are as equivalent in many ways to the new care certificate. In fact, most of the old induction standards form part of the care certificate.
The current system doesn't work 100%, does it? So something needs to change, and it may well be your idea, but and I know they're few and far between, but there are some horrific stories of theft in care homes by care workers, physical abuse, neglect, mental abuse. It's not great, is it?
No, that's right. But you were right earlier in actually separating training from people's behaviour. Training, it will help them in the process of caring for people. It won't stop people who are already devious from continuing to be devious. Hopefully, what the interview system and things like this are the things which would make sure those people didn't get into care. But the training is the first step towards further training. I mean, the care certificate isn't it all. It's just in an induction stage. The further training will still continue there. But it does, again, as your previous guy said, the way in which the way in which the Care Quality Commission now inspect by placing questions against certain aspects. So is the service safe and is it well led? Are two of the questions they ask. These are about training and are about making sure people aren't abused.
Frank, I appreciate your time this morning. Thank you. Frank Ursell from the Registered Nursing Home Association. You may want to give us a call on that. I suspect that you're more likely want to give us a call on arrogant people, places and things. And have you ever helped a crook and cover versions that are better than the original? 08459 455 555. I tell you what as well, we'll do this after 7:30. If someone can sell Terry Pratchett to me. Very sad Terry Pratchett died. Very sad he had dementia. I never got Terry Pratchett. I'm trying to tread carefully. I don't want to speak... I'm not going to speak ill of the dead. I'm going to speak openly about the author. I never got him. I glimpsed at some I don't like all that fantasy stuff. And I was so surprised. This is what surprised me, actually. That the first 15 minutes of PM on Channel Radio 4 last night, their big news show, just under 15 minutes, was about Terry Pratchett. And I thought, it'll be a passing at best, and maybe we'll get another author on to, maybe they'll get another author on to say, he was great because, but he got 15 minutes.
I think it's because of his work to try to bring about legalise kind of euthanasia.
But that was a tiny portion of the package they had on him.
But also, it's a big, people who like Terry Pratchett love Terry Pratchett.
But was he that big a thing, though?
I used to read his books when I was about 12, 13. They were all right. They were quite witty and they were quite clever.
Whose stomach was that?
Mine.
Okay, you're fired. Can someone, and I'm trying to choose my words carefully, although someone will take offence. What's he having a go at Terry Pratchett for the day after he died? I'm not having a go. I just don't get it. If someone could phone up and explain to me the attraction and the outpouring of national affection for Terry Pratchett. 08459 455 555.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
On the M25 anti-clockwise, it's starting to look quite busy between junction 20 for Kings Langley and 16 for the M40. On the M1 southbound, it's heavy from junction 11 for Dunstable Road towards junction 10 for the Luton Airport Spur Road. And having a look at the A1 Great North Road, and that's starting to build up southbound on the approach to the Black Cat roundabout where the roadworks are. It got very busy yesterday morning, so it's likely to get busy in that area again this morning. Looking at the train departure boards, and there are no reports of any major problems of delays of more than 5 minutes. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you so much, Sammy. (7:17). It's Friday the 13th of March. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. A woman whose father died following neglect at a Bedford care home says new training for staff won't deal with the problem. Following the arrest of a 13-year-old schoolboy, the detective leading the hunt for the attackers of Watford football fan Nick Cruis has urged those responsible to do the right thing and hand themselves in. And a former homeless man from Luton has won a Prince's Trust Award at a star-studded ceremony in London last night.
BBC Three Counties Radio. Roberto Perroni on BBC Three Counties Radio.
Tip-top etiquette expert William Hanson, who is not a fan of politicians oversharing.
Oh, good afternoon, Roberto. I feel slightly nauseous after that music.
Every weekday from 3.
Let's talk to Harriet Harman, the leader of the Labour Party.
We've been in Bedford and Cambridge, and we've had very interesting discussions.
Let's talk cold callers. Do you have a tried and tested method of getting rid of cold callers?
You've got to make up a word before you go on the phone, and so you can fit that word in without them realising the most time.
Saying actually helps you feel calmer. Do you believe this, Sharon?
Definitely. And since I read that, I've been doing it and I'm well chilled.
Roberto Perroni, weekdays from 3 on BBC Three Counties Radio. Call 08459 455 555.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
08459 455 555. Morning, Gatford.
Morning, boss. How's it going?
It's going very, very well. Can you tell by listening to the broadcast on the wireless this morning that I've got a headache and I feel nauseous? Can you tell that?
You pretty much feel ill every day, don't you?
That's rude.
Well, but it's pretty much true.
Yeah,
no,
it's absolutely true.
Don't join in.
How's that hypochondria going?
Oh, I think it's going to kill me.
Well, don't do that.
Gatford, that's rude, mate.
Well, yeah, but then if you do that, then they've got to rename the whole show. Think of others for once.
Yeah, you're right, actually. They're very selfish of me. What do you want, you plum?
I've got two of your topics.
Oh.
Double shot Friday.
Double shot Friday. We're calling it Double Shot Friday, guys.
Yeah.
Are they? You say you've got two of the topics. Is what you're going to say actually interesting? Because with the greatest of respect, Gatford, it's quite often. I was going through my files yesterday of all the. I keep records of everybody who's phoned me over the last 10 years in this crazy business we call show, and you generally score 2 stars.
Well, I'm hoping that on Double Shot Friday I can exceed
out of 50.
50.
Yeah, 2 out of 50.
The odds are not in my favour, but maybe I can hit one of them and then the other one maybe.
All right, fella, we'll start off with your best one.
Start with the best one. Well, I've assisted a criminal unknowingly.
Okay.
I was in a popular sandwich shop, and
was it Subway?
No.
Was it Pret?
No.
Was it Gary Glitter's sandwich shop that he used to own in Leicester Square? True fact. True fact.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah, true fact.
Should I say what it was or not?
It depends.
I want to know now. Greg's.
It was Greg's.
Greg's isn't a sandwich
It's a
shop.
baker's, love. It's a baker's.
What is it? It's not a sandwich shop.
Bakers.
No, it's a baker's. They sell Greg's dummies.
Oh, fair enough. Okay.
Sausage rolls.
A popular baker's.
Yeah, Greg's.
Yeah.
When did they start? When did they introduce seated areas in Greg's? That really is
that's
for
weird, isn't it?
Well, yeah. That's for the extremely
but you
lazy.
know that how the layout of a Greg's is that the sandwiches are outside of the counter.
Oh, mate, would you get to the point, please?
Okay. Basically, a gentleman walked in and he said, "Oh, you're quite tall. Could you hand me that sandwich from the top shelf?"
You're not tall.
I am. I'm 6'3".
That's widthways.
Oh.
Upwards. Now he's being rude. And I passed him the sandwich, thinking he's then going to walk to the front and pay for the sandwich, and he walked out the shop.
Hey, that is brazen sandwich thievery. Brazen.
Just brazen. And I can't remember what the sandwich was, whether it was particularly good or, whatever, but it was on a high shelf.
I tell you what I don't get, right?
Yeah.
I don't get egg sandwiches. Fried egg sandwich, an egg banjo, beautiful. I'm in. But the other type of egg, the boiled egg and egg mayonnaise, no, disgusting.
Egg and cress is quite nice.
No, it's not, mate.
I quite like it if I've just made it, but I don't like it when it's been sitting there.
No, it's disgusting. It is disgusting.
I don't like fancy sandwiches. I like plain sandwiches. I don't like things that have got like sauces and salad in them.
Would you consider a cheese and mayo sandwich fancy?
No, of course not.
But would you prefer a cheese slice on cheap white bread?
Yeah.
Of course I
Or a bit of ham without any mustard or anything like that.
Hang on a minute, guys. Sorry, let me just check. Yeah, we're doing What's Your Favourite Sandwich. Time to move on to point 2, Gary.
Point 2.
We've actually got a counsellor, proper important person to talk to, and we're keeping him waiting because of you.
Well, what can I say? The second one is cover versions.
You could say a good story. Yes, cover versions are better than the originals.
Strawberry Fields Forever by Candy Flip.
Oh, goodbye. Goodbye. Do you remember the Candy Flip version of Strawberry Fields Forever?
Was it Soup Dragons?
No, it was Candy Flip. Dig it out. It's flipping awful. Goodbye, Gary. You're banned for the rest of the week. Dig it out. Candy Flip, Strawberry Fields. And I will show you, Kelly, just how arrogant the 80s were. The 80s thought they could improve on perfection. I'll show you how arrogant they were. 08459 455 555. Now, Letchworth residents are complaining. This is an incredible story. This is where we got the arrogance from, about over-enthusiastic deer venturing further into the town. The so-called arrogant, bold deer are roaming the streets for food and damaging property as they come into contact with residents. Well, Bambi's grown up and got nasty. Let's speak to David Kearns, who is Labour councillor for the Grange ward in Letchworth. Good morning, David.
Good morning.
How big a problem is this?
I wouldn't say it's a huge problem, but it's getting worse.
Where are these deer going, and what are they getting up to?
Well, they're coming off Norton Common, which is a green area in the centre of Letchworth. And they're then roaming the streets of the Grange and areas very close to it, going into people's gardens, ruining their gardens, scavenging for food. And we've had one incidence of a deer entering a house.
How? Now, this is the thing, because I was curious about this. How did it get into the house?
Well, I was told it was a warm summer evening,
right?
And the resident had left their front door, back door open.
Blimey!
And house is a bungalow,
right?
And the deer had come through and just sort of wandered in and ended up into the kitchen. The resident themselves wasn't in the kitchen, but had gone into the kitchen. A couple of minutes later, heard a bit of a noise and was confronted by this dear, which is probably the size of a very large dog, and both were startled, and the deer sort of...
I'm sorry, I'm laughing because that's such a lovely term. Both were startled. I bet they both had the fright of their lives.
Oh dear! Absolutely, and then it's panic. It brushed past and knocked the resident, who wasn't a young person, who was just sort of middle-aged person, knocked him to one side. So, and that was...
Do we know, is it the same thing that happened with foxes in the 70s and 80s? They just kind of came out of the woods and encroached on towns. Is that the same reason, do we think, that they're getting so bold?
Well, we've had... I've lived in Letchworth for 55 years, and we've had muntjac deer, and it's the muntjac deer for quite some considerable time.
Yeah.
And I think probably... for about 45 of those years, you very rarely saw them. But, the last 10 years, they seem to have got a bit more brazen.
What's this talk about releasing lynx into the countryside to cull the deer?
That was an off-cuff remark from a fellow councillor that there seems to have been a story somewhere or another that there was some talk about... reintroducing lynx.
So that's not happening?
Well, one would hope not.
Oh, blimey. You dearie me. So what is going to happen, David? Because I guess this can't continue because it will get worse and worse. Is there going to be a deer culling programme? Are you going to set up electrified fences? What's the plan?
Well, at the moment, I've only raised the issue at the moment so that people are aware of the issue, and I'd obviously like to hear of more cases of deer to see exactly how badly the problem is. But we don't actually know how many deer that we have got on the common, and because the common isn't a area that's electrified fencing or particularly well fenced off. Deer roam. From all over, but it would be an idea just to find out how many we've got. It would be just a really finger in the air job. Because, you can't say, well, we've got 50 deer and they're always going to be there. But and then just to monitor the situation.
It could be like young people, couldn't it? Where it's they all get a bad press, but actually it's only a handful of them that stand outside Spa, spitting them. But it could be the same with deer. That it's just a small number of a larger group of deer that's misbehaving.
It could well be.
David, I appreciate your time. Thank you. That's Labour councillor David Kearns. Dearie me. I mean, dear oh dear. Hey?
Oh dear, oh pray.
I don't think I've got that one, have I? I need to tidy all this out. Have I got that one?
Hell mess. I think it's disgusting. Trauma noise.
He don't call us, but we was on the JVS show the other day.
Oh, really?
Dave Luton. Oh, no. Dave Luton was on the JVS show, wasn't he? I know the other fella was, but I'm sure Dave Luton popped up.
They can have the other fella.
08459.
Why not Dave back?
Well, we know that one. Dave, why don't you call us anymore? Is it because of 50 Shades of Grey? Is that the reason?
I'm going to murder Iain Lee.
Oh, that's why.
He thinks he owes us a tenner. That's why he's lying low.
Dave, you don't owe us any money, you plum. For goodness sakes, just come on the air, take your spanking like you deserve, and then we'll be friends again. Come and be spanked. Let me spank you. Grey style, and then we'll be quits. That's all.
Don't bite your lip, Dave.
Don't roll your eye at me.
I got my bottom slapped.
See, Peter had it done, and he survived, Dave. So you come and have a bit of the same, yeah. 08459 455 555. Let's really... Right, OK, so after 7:30, I want to focus... I really want to build up this arrogant list. I want to discover why there's been so much affection for Terry Pratchett. It never appealed to me in the slightest. And when I heard he died, I thought, oh, well, that's sad. Always sad when someone dies. But I couldn't believe the outpouring on the radio for him last night. Can someone explain it to me, please? 08459 455 555.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's starting to build up on the M1 southbound. It's looking very slow from junction 11 for Dunstable Road towards junction 10 for the Luton Airport Spur Road. And looking at the M25 anti-clockwise, it's very slow from junction 26 for Waltham Abbey to 25 for Enfield. On the A10 southbound in Chesham, it's starting to build up between the Great Cambridge Road at the New River Trading Estate southbound towards the M25. And on the A1 Great North Road southbound from the Coneworth turnoff at Wire Boston, it's starting to look very slow towards the Black Cat roundabout through the roadworks. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Across beds, hearts and bugs.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 7:30. I'm Simon Oxley. A woman whose father died following neglect at a Bedford care home says new training for staff won't deal with the problem. Following the arrest of a 13-year-old schoolboy, the detective leading the hunt for the attackers of Watford football fan Nick Crewis has urged those responsible to do the right thing and hand themselves in. The Queen will lead the nation at a service at St Paul's Cathedral this morning to remember the servicemen and women who died in the Afghan conflict. And a former homeless man from Luton has won a Prince's Trust Award at a star-studded ceremony in London last night.
Three Counties Sports.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Reigning champion Lewis Hamilton and Mercedes teammate Nico Rosberg have dominated practice for Sunday's season-opening Australian Grand Prix, but Rosberg finished ahead of the Hertfordshire driver in both sessions. New Milton Keynes Red Bull driver Daniel Kvyat was sixth in second practice, but Daniel Ricciardo didn't take part. England's cricketers are playing Afghanistan in their final World Cup match, having already been eliminated. A short while ago, Afghanistan were 111 for 7, but rain has again stopped play. In tomorrow's football, Watford host Reading. The Hornets will check on the fitness of striker Odion Ighalo and midfielder Alman Abdi, but Tommy Hoban is suspended. Watford, one of 4 teams level on points at the top of the Championship. Milton Keynes Dons go to Walsall, aiming to end a run of 3 successive defeats. Captain Dean Lewington returns from suspension. Manager Carl Robinson welcomes back goalkeeper David Martin after injury, after a difficult spell for replacement Ian McLaughlin.
It's just not worked. He's got in and had a very bad time. He went in a few years ago, had a good time. So he's just having one of them moments where you have to respect that every footballer goes through it, and the fact was the way we play, it's had more of an impact than what we actually thought.
Wickham host promotion rival Shrewsbury. Luton go to Portsmouth. Hatter striker Paul Benson could be back in the squad 4 months after breaking his leg. And Stevenage are at Cambridge. In the Europa League last night, Everton won 2-1 at home to Dynamo Kiev in the first leg of their last 16 tie. And in racing, it's Gold Cup day at the Cheltenham Festival. Retiring 19-time champion jockey AP McCoy rides Carlingford Lock in his final Gold Cup. Here's Cornelius Lycett.
Ever since AP McCoy made his first appearance of the week on the winners list yesterday with Oxysandra, a gamble on Carlingford Lock, a horse with solid form owned by JP McManus and trained by John Kiley in Ireland, has been gathering pace. But that plunge is not the only one. With the Willie Mullins team enjoying a purple patch, Jack Adam, one of 3 Gold Cup runners for the Mullins stable, is becoming an increasingly popular choice and could challenge Silvaniaco Conti, hoping for third time lucky after 2 Gold Cup defeats for favouritism. Meanwhile, last year's winner Lord Windermere is back, hoping to retain his crown.
BBC Three Counties News and Sport. The next full bulletin is at 8.
Call 08459 455 555.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
We'll set up the stall again in a second. Let's go to David in Luton first. Morning, David.
Good morning.
What have you got for us, sir?
Pardon?
What have you got for us, sir?
Well, I can't get... I'm in bed still. Yeah. I understand that you're discussing care.
Yes, they're bringing in a certificate that people will have to earn if they are to work as carers. What do you think?
Absolutely right. They should have been registered from day one.
Tell me why.
Why? Because they then know that if they misbehave or they don't, or they break the code of conduct for the care, that they will lose their job and they won't be able to go back into the field again.
Have you encountered any misbehaviour when with your carers?
Pardon?
Have you encountered any misbehaviour with the people that care for you?
With the previous care agencies I was with, they put their hands on me.
Gosh, now don't mention any names.
I'm not going to, because I don't. No. Because the situation is that serious. But I have complained, but nothing's been done.
What do you mean they put their hands on you?
They hit me. That's what. If you were to know privately.
I'd love to know privately.
You knew if the BBC were to know privately my experiences. Some of my experiences are unprintable and unspeakable. And if I complain, I'm branded as a troublemaker, and well, I'm just an outcast.
Why, if you don't mind me asking, David?
No, I don't mind you asking anything, Iain.
Okay. Why do you need care? What is wrong with you so that you need people to help you?
I have a very serious, acute neurological problem which has been unable to be diagnosed. Therefore, there's no prognosis, and I am a medical clinician's biggest nightmare. I was in the Royal Free Hospital in London for 28 weeks back in 2003.
So what can't you do for yourself that means you require carers? Is it things like getting up, washing, dressing and eating?
Absolutely right.
Yeah. So what happened on the day that the carers hit you?
Well, this is all to do. They make up the rules as they go along, and they decided that that my medication, that I was taking too much medication, and I said it was none of their business. The medication is prescribed by the practice, by the medical practice or the medical clinicians, and I wasn't going to take instructions from them or from anybody other than a medical clinician, and that was my explanation, and then they punched me.
Punched or slapped? Was it a closed fist or an open palm?
Both.
And where did they hit you? What part of your body?
Well, on the face, and on the upper part of the body.
And was it a man or a woman?
No, two women.
Right. Did you go to the police about this?
Yes, I did.
And what did the police say?
All they would say was that it's my word against theirs, and they were very sorry. They'd get taken to court, and if they took it to court, they would stand up, and the police said, the police were really honest. I can't fault the police. They said that they'll just say that I aggravated them, and the case would be thrown out of court.
Well, I think, Catherine, this warrants a couple of phone calls this afternoon, doesn't it?
Perhaps.
Do we have a little look into that?
Yeah, let's have a look.
David, listen, we may speak to you a bit later on, if that's all right.
What on this programme?
We may speak to you off air. But let me speak to the team after the show, and we may speak to you off air and do a little bit of digging, if that would be okay.
Yes, that's fine.
David, thank you for your time. Catherine?
I think I know David's case.
Okay.
Is he still there?
David?
David?
Oh, no, David, you're there, aren't you?
Still there, David?
Yes, I'm there.
Did you speak to another BBC programme about this? On this radio station?
I have done, so yes.
Jonathan's programme?
Yes.
Yeah, I remember. Okay, well, I'll have a conversation with Jonathan as well.
Okay. They've looked into it, have they? Okay. All right, well, David, listen, we appreciate your time. Thank you very much indeed.
Call 08459 455 555.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
OK, well, we'll speak to them. See what we can do. Catherine's joined me back in the studio again. Catherine, let's reset the stall, then we'll go through the papers.
Okay.
Arrogant, because of these deer, which, boy oh boy, doesn't it sound like not much of a story. But, no, we're making the most out of not a lot, which is basically my whole career. So we're talking arrogance, arrogant animals, arrogant places, arrogant people. We've decided that Milton Keynes, London, Paris and dolphins are all arrogant.
Mm-hmm. Ibiza as well, the whole island.
08459 455 555. Ever helped a criminal?
By accident, this is.
Where has that come from?
That was... You brought it up.
I'm a bit windy, Pops, if I'm honest, so...
Anyway, I have in the past, not proud, not my proudest moment, but it came out of kindness both times. In one, I directed a mob to a youth club where they then decided to... do some damage, and then on another occasion I abetted a shoplifter by accident by filling out her card while her mate filled a bin bag. Ever
helped a criminal, and also, Terry Pratchett. I don't get Terry Pratchett. He's front page, I think, of the Mirror today.
He's in all the papers.
He's in all the papers. Front page of the Mirror, the end, best-selling author Terry Pratchett tweets story of his dying moments. I mean, hey, listen, I'm not in any way... someone will go online and say, oh, it's too soon. Oh, you can't do it. No, I'm not. I'm just questioning the outpouring of affection that this gentleman... there's obviously something I've missed.
It's your cue to give us a call on 08459 455 555 and tell us what he's missing.
0845... Oh, you just did that.
Yeah, so he's 66, died after Alzheimer's fight. He'd been a huge campaigner for the right to die. That's the reason why people who haven't read the Discworld novels might know Terry Pratchett. Very outspoken person.
Oh, and cover versions that are better than the originals as well.
Yeah, and we're not accepting that one, Strawberry Fields.
Have you heard it? Did you manage to dig it out? The Candy Flip and Strawberry Fields Forever. Dig. I know you're on the phone, Kaylee. You do that, but I will play it, and it shows just how arrogant the 80s were.
When was the last time you went in BHS?
Used to go on BHS in the Queensmere Shopping Centre in Slough, and they had them what looked to me at the time magical. They had two things. They had a doorbell, a wall of doorbells.
Always good.
And it was next to the light section, which was just full of the most amazing lights. So I'd go and play in there.
Crystal.
The 70s were rubbish. Why?
Because Sir Philip Green, a billionaire tycoon, of course, has sold retailer BHS to a consortium of investors for what's understood to be a nominal sum.
He must have made a fortune. How much did he sold it for?
I hope they give it a bit of TLC, because I think BHS is one of those kind of companies that's been allowed to go really beige.
It was always bland. It was always a bland environment.
But with a bit of love, it could come back, I think.
Has he sold it to the Chinese or something? It better be British home stores. Imagine Chinese...
Consortium Retail Acquisitions.
OK, they sold it for £1, didn't they?
He sold it for very, very little.
Yeah.
Very little indeed. Sir Philip said, I'm pleased that we found a buyer in Retail Acquisitions Limited who want to develop the BHS brand. I'm confident.
I didn't know BHS was still going. I thought it went the way of...
CNA.
CNA, yeah.
CNA is still quite big in Spain.
Is it really?
Yeah, when I used to live there, I was amazed to see so many CNAs.
I used to love the CNA logo. What did the CNA stand for? Not the joke version.
Don't know, but some of my earliest fashions were purchased from their Clockhouse brand.
See, was Clockhouse CNA?
Yeah.
Funny. 08459 455 555 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call. The papers are a little bit slim today.
Talk about the teacher who said she was going to call God.
Oh, well, I don't know where that is. You've got that,
hang on. Ring God, Mirror, page 27. See ya.
You got it. Go, gadget legs.
There we go.
Go, gadget legs.
Right, here we go. 29, like that one. OK, here we go. A headmistress has been accused of forcing primary school pupils to lie face down while she phoned God to report they've been badly behaved. Parents said Sheila Jones had humiliated the children and they've reported her to Watchdog Ofsted. Tammy Brimble said her son Cyrus, 11, was one of the children punished at St Joseph's Roman Catholic Primary in Devizes, Wiltshire. She said, I don't think what she did was appropriate at all.
The lying face down, don't agree with. The calling God? You know, I always pretend to call my boy's teacher. Don't always, but it's a real last resort.
Father Christmas gets a ring now and again.
If he's being completely disobedient, I'm going to phone Mrs Smith. Do you want me to phone Mrs Smith? Go on then, phone her up. Hello, is that Mrs Smith? No one there. Yeah, and his face. She just want to talk to you about my youngest son. And his face drops, and then he does what he's told. And I say, yeah, no, he's being a very good boy and he's doing exactly what he's told. Thank you for your time, Mrs Smith, and put the phone down.
While maintaining eye contact with the child at all times.
Yeah. So the phoning thing, I've not got a problem with that at all.
God, though. In a Roman Catholic school, don't start that nonsense.
That's shaming, isn't it?
Well, and also, I think it waters down your message. If you're a Roman Catholic school, don't mess around with that stuff.
So listen, this is what 1966, I think, maybe 67 sounded like. OK, so beautiful. It's... Dealey would probably call this arrogant. This isn't arrogant, this is confident. It's confidence here. They know they're good. This is what the mid-80s sounded like. This is the arrogance of the 80s. Candy Flip.
Yeah, I remember
Strawberry
this
Fields Forever. Enjoy. Flip it. The intro sounds like a Frank Sidebottom song. If someone sent that into BBC Introducing, Kelly, where would you file it?
Careful.
Careful. Be honest. You'd play it.
I wouldn't.
Disgusting. Makes me want to eat my own.
How dare they?
Makes me want to eat my own fingers. Hey, here's something. Now, I don't condone what this person did, but I had a similar incident yesterday. I went to meet someone and they coughed in their hand, then offered it to me to shake. And I had to shake it. I then went and washed my hand immediately after, but a tram passenger was punched in the face for not covering his mouth when he coughed. I don't condone the violence.
But it is rude.
I would totally understand the anger at it. The 62-year-old was on an afternoon service when a witness said he let out a small cough. A man shouted and hit him, giving him a bloody nose, black eye. Terrible, terrible, terrible. That is outrageous. The victim and onlooker got off the service in Croydon and called police. The witness said the old boy was really shaken. The old boy, I love it. And had blood all over his face. Awful, awful, awful. But while I'm not condoning the act in the slightest, I'd be angry with the fella that did a cough as well. I hate it when you're out and people are coughing without putting their hands over that, or sneezing.
I don't want to see the interior of your head at any point.
I think it's absolutely disgusting. 08459 455 555.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's slow on the M25 anti-clockwise around junction 16 for the M40, and the M1 southbound is looking slow from junction 11 for Dunstable Road towards the M1 junction 10 for Luton Airport Spur Road. On the A1 Great North Road, the roadworks are causing delays between the Black Cat roundabout and the Coneworth turn-off at Wyboston, and in Hitchin on Stevenage Road, that's looking busy in both directions between Whitehill Road and Paynes Park. Elsewhere in Hertford on Gascoigne Way, it's looking slow around Ware Road on the speed sensors, and having a look at the train departure boards, there are no major delays at the moment. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Hey up, Sammy, thank you. 7:46, Friday the 13th of March. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. A woman whose father died following neglect at a Bedford care home says a new national care certificate won't deal with the problem. Following the arrest of a 13-year-old schoolboy, the detective leading the hunt for the attackers of Watford football fan Nick Crewis has urged those responsible to do the right thing and hand themselves in. And a former homeless man from Luton has won a Prince's Trust Award at a star-studded ceremony in London last night. 08459 455 555. Let's get the weather. Here's Elizabeth.
Beds, Herts and bucks weather.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Hello, very good morning to you. It's going to be a pretty nice day once more across the three counties. We do have a rain band towards western areas at the moment. That's gradually going to push its way further west through the morning. So if it's raining where you are, then more bad luck. But it won't be raining for very much longer. There will be some cloud around for a time just about everywhere, but that will thin and break to give us some good spells of sunshine for the rest of the day. And top temperatures up to 10 or even 11 degrees, 52 in Fahrenheit. Not quite as warm as it was yesterday, but still fairly pleasant, and there will be some sunshine around too. Later on through the afternoon, we're getting a bit of an easterly wind, and it's that's going to cause us some problems over the course of the weekend. But overnight tonight, it's going to stay dry. Temperatures down to 2 or 3 degrees, so it will be a fairly chilly night to come, and then very chilly over the weekend. Temperatures no higher than around 6 or 7 degrees. There'll be a lot of cloud too, and as I said, a cold easterly breeze. There could even be some showers on Sunday. That's the forecast.
Monday Night Sport is a sports programme unlike any other.
I love going somewhere where the sport takes place.
Go to the judo club in Aylesbury where he almost got strangled to death.
He's just about to get flung in the air and crash to the floor.
Oh! Yes, it is about sport, but it's also about us two having a bit of a giggle at the same time.
Anywhere on the green, he's got one over on Lucy, the US Open competitor. Oh, I think we can see that.
We've had some great ones.
I thought the wakeboarding was just tremendous. Yeah. That is so far out of our comfort zone. I don't quite know how I fell off, but I think it was something to do with the balance.
And of course, you can see all the videos on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/BBC3CR.
Three Counties Sport on BBC Three Counties Radio. Call 08459 455 555.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
You probably prefer this version, don't you, Just?
You must be joking.
Hang on a minute, just say that again.
You must be joking.
Thank you very much. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please welcome... It's together for the first time in 30 years, Paul McCartney and Ringo Starr.
Let me take you down, 'cause I'm
Candy flip, ladies and gentlemen. Candy. The arrogance of the 80s, thinking they could improve upon perfection.
Oh, gosh, that was terrible. I think it was 1990 that came out.
Was it that late?
Yeah, it was 90.
Was it really?
I got it on one of my Smash Hits albums, and I remember listening to that, and my dad saying to me, no, son, no, sit down, let me play you the original, okay?
Let me
Let's
play
get real
you
here.
the original
Strawberry Field.
Cheese Phobia has sent me crackers. People like this, how can they live? Or do you know what? I'm going to treat myself to a cheese... I'm in Birmingham tonight. I'm going to go out and have a cheese board somewhere. I'm going to treat myself to a dirty cheese board.
Oh, halloumi.
You don't get halloumi on a cheese board, mate.
Oh, you should.
You should, actually.
No, it's too hot. You don't want hot next to cold.
A business... I can manage both, mate. A business analyst has told how she has panic attacks and bursts into tears because of her fear of cheese.
That's odd.
Anna Bonderson, 33, flees at the sight of the, quotes, yellow, smelly hell. She once dumped an unwitting boyfriend who came into the room with a plateful and can be left terrified by talk about cheese on the radio.
Oh.
Sorry, Anna.
Sorry, love.
She's from Sweden. Recalled how she ran away from a work colleague when a work colleague used a microwave to heat up a Parmesan-flavoured pie. She said, it took about 2 seconds for the cheesy steam... We all know about that, don't we? That's to reach my nose, and I completely panicked. Physically, my body reacts with tears. So she cries.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything but escape. Anna has never sought treatment for the phobia, as she does not consider it a problem.
Really?
She said people find it amusing.
Yeah.
That's no way to live your life, my darling.
No.
You are missing out on some of the great cheesy goodness that's out. I'm going to have a cheese board.
Oh, just get in there, cheese. Do you know, it's so fantastic.
It is.
All different varieties. Oh,
What's your favourite cheese?
halloumi.
Call me now. You like a bit of halloumi? I like halloumi. Squeaky.
Had it last night. Do you know what? It made me, as a person, it made me feel alive.
I overdid it with halloumi. I've got to leave it for a bit. I got frightened.
Your basic cheddar.
Sorry.
It's your basic cheddar with a little bit of quince on top.
Oh.
Quince jelly on cheddar, yeah? You talking my language?
Yeah. I'm there.
Very, very dirty. But then I like...
What's the protocol with your biscuits?
I don't bother putting butter on anymore.
No, I don't mean that. Right, your water biscuit is meant to be for, I don't know, for a certain kind of cheese, and then you go for the digestive-y fat one.
You
for
start the digestive first, then the Ritz, and then you just go with whatever's there. Not the ones with the poppy seeds on.
Oh, I quite like those.
You can have those. Then
They're a
that's
lighter bite.
Later bite. What have we got Dealey on for? We're talking about that young girl who was called...
Pirate Girl.
Pirate Girl.
By a teacher who couldn't remember her name. She's 6. She's got...
No.
She's got one of those little patches over her eye to try to correct a problem with her other eye.
He forgot her name, and he
yells across a crowded hall.
He said, "Excuse me,
Pirate Girl."
Excuse me, you young lady. I've forgotten your name. Pirate Girl. What's 3 plus 2?
That is
wrong.
Well, Alan.
I don't think it is. To be honest,
it's wrong. Come on, she's too young. She's way too young.
You're with me, aren't you, Justin?
I am on this one.
The bands can't start till they're about 14.
Yeah, and even then, it can be a bit touchy.
Yeah.
He wasn't shaming her. He wasn't having a pop.
He singled the girl out. He's made her look stupid in front of other school friends.
He wanted to speak to her and got her attention in a friendly way.
If she had a spot on the end of her nose saying, "Oi, Rudolph."
No, it's not the same.
Yes, it is.
Hello. Everyone loves pirates, apart from, of course, that couple that were kidnapped not too long ago, just on the coast of Ethiopia.
Yeah, too soon.
Does Ethiopia have a coastline? Or is it landlocked? Don't know. Justin,
yes.
You've taken this one out to the streets.
I have. People are not happy this morning. A great Polish perspective coming up here as well.
Beautiful.
Quite possibly the best Polish perspective ever. These guys, they talk a lot of sense. Here's what happened on the streets this morning.
Taking it to the streets with J-Dog.
It's gotten all very silly now, all these things.
If you saw a girl with an eye patch, would you call her Pirate Girl?
Well, it depends on the circumstances. If there was somebody I knew, and you'd say, hello, Pirate Patch, how are you? I mean, she'd probably laugh.
It's bad. Yeah, it's insensitive.
Because you're wearing glasses today, so what if your teacher forgot your name and said, "Oh, Specky"? How would that make you feel?
I personally would.
I'm coming in. No,
Go on.
Not the same.
Yeah, the same.
No, the same would be if he went, you, Harry Potter. That's the same. Specky is not the same. He's not called a one-eye.
No, he hasn't.
No,
What have you called her? Gogs? As in goggles.
What? Gogs to me is aren't they playing? Anyway, no, not the same, Justin.
Okay.
Invalid. We'll continue, but this answer is invalid as the question is invalid.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mind, I've never felt wrong about my last.
Oh, hang on. She agrees with me, so actually this is valid
she doesn't
again.
agree. She doesn't agree. Let's get the Polish perspective. What's your name?
Przemysław. Filip.
Philip. A 6-year-old girl was in a classroom. She's got a problem with her eye, so she was wearing an eye patch. The teacher forgot that girl's name, so he called her Pirate Girl. What do you think about that?
I think that bullies are not good, even in Poland.
So you think this teacher's a bully?
Yeah, I think it's a bully. I don't think it's a joke, because you can joke from many things, but not from diseases. So I totally don't agree with this.
Very interesting. And yourself?
I think the same. I think the same. It's not a reason to joke.
Madam, you're here with your young daughter this morning, okay? If she went to school and she was wearing an eye patch because she had a visual problem, and the teacher forgot your daughter's name and called her Pirate Girl, how do you think you might react to that?
I'd be pretty angry, actually.
Is it not just a harmless name? Just a bit of fun?
No, not at all. Because then you're just making her inferior and complex about it, so no.
So if your daughter came home, would you go straight up to the school and say, what do you think you're doing? You don't talk to my daughter like that. You don't call her that ever again.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I would. I would go in, just speak to the teacher and tell them straight, don't do it.
No, you're
Michael, really.
She'd go down the school.
You're all out of order. I tell you, this fella, he's a great teacher. Shortlisted for Local Teacher of the Year award in 2010.
Good for him.
He thinks he's a bit of fun.
No.
He's overstepped the mark.
No, he's not.
Do you know what?
I'll tell you he's wrong in this story in a minute. Go on.
To make a comparison to what you're talking about this morning, obviously, as you say, he's a good teacher.
Great teacher.
He's up for these awards.
We shouldn't be knocking teachers.
He's got above his station. He's got arrogant.
Oh.
No, mate, no.
Like the lecture with
I'll tell you who's wrong in this story, shall I?
Go on.
It says here, Mum's fury over shy Alicia 6. Mum, Amy, says... Mum Amy, 30, now fears Mr Davis's ill-judged comment will be copied by bullies. She said Alicia is so vulnerable because of her eye patch. It's made her very self-conscious and timid anyway. Oh, OK, Mum, sorry, so... That's why you've got a full-page picture of her in 2 of the national newspapers, and you've got the story out there, because she's so vulnerable, and you're worried that other kids in the school will pick up this comment. Well, if they didn't hear it on the day, they'll certainly know about it now, Amy.
It's not her fault.
You've made it worse.
It's not the parents' fault this story's got picked up. She's made a complaint. Somebody's obviously leaked it to a local newspaper.
It's
gone from there.
To the
You can't
paper.
blame her.
I think that maybe she doesn't know how these things work.
Exactly. She knows how it... Well, you know, if you get this story in the paper, there's going to be a picture of... Look, she's posed for the pictures.
Let's have a look. She's doing the glum face.
They're both doing... Look, it's glum face. The mum is making... As always with these stories... It's good glum face, isn't it? 2 proper good glum face.
Double glum face.
The mum, as always with these stories... OK, so your child has been, in your opinion, I disagree, has been humiliated and could be open to bullying. So what's the best thing to do? Expose that to even more people. Expose it to not just the 200 that were in the school, but I don't know, maybe the 6 million people that read the newspaper. Hey, there's Pirate Girl. She was in the paper this morning.
She's 6, poor little darling. Look at that face.
And I think that you, Catherine, and you, Justin, you're both forgetting the 6-year-old kiddie. That's the most important thing in this.
You quite finished?
Are you going to contradict me?
I'm just going to let you crack on.
I'm finished.
OK, thank you.
Speak to you in the next hour?
Yeah, arrogant animals?
Yeah, go on.
OK.
And can you do arrogant animals and arrogant cities as well? I quite like the cities.
Yeah, the cities one I think is great. I think you're spot on there about Paris. All I've heard is negative stories about Paris. But Milton Keynes locally for me, I'll say it again, it is a town, not a city. That for me is the most arrogant place here in Beds, Herts and Bucks.
Justin, thank you. 08459 4555. Oh, Justin, before you go, could you give me a back rub?
You must be joking.
All right, mate.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC 3 Counties Radio.
In Kings Langley, looking at the A41 southbound, it's looking heavy around the M25 junction 20 for Kings Langley. In Aylesbury, the A41 Bicester Road's very slow between Dickens Way at the Cotton Wheel roundabout and Hayden Road at Bicester Road junction. On the A1 Great North Road, that's looking very slow around the Black Cat roundabout. And on the motorways on the M1 southbound, it's heavy between junction 11 for Dunstable Road and the M1 junction 10 for the Luton Airport Spur Road. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Sammy. Well, do you agree with Justin Dealey, dear listener? Milton Keynes is an arrogant city. Excuse me? An arrogant town. 08459 455 555. Let's get the news. Here's Simon Oxley.
Local and vocal across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 8 o'clock. The headlines: criticism of new care certificate following Bedford death. Police say they can identify thugs who attacked Watford fan, and deer in the kitchen in Letchworth.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
A woman whose father died following neglect at a Bedford care home says a new national care certificate won't deal with the problem. Parkinson's and dementia sufferer James Stewart died last year after he didn't get his medication at the Manton Heights care home. Kirsty Bourne says the new certificate being introduced next month is a waste of time.
It's going to make no difference whatsoever. And quite frankly, I haven't met a care worker who didn't know how to make a cup of tea or clean up behind someone and who hasn't actually done it with compassion. That's not where the problem is. The problem lies far higher up.
Following the arrest of a 13-year-old schoolboy, the detective leading the hunt for the attackers of Watford fan Nick Crewis has urged those responsible to do the right thing and hand themselves in. Detective Chief Inspector Chris Hansen says they have clear CCTV which would allow them to single out those who attacked the 44-year-old from Hemel Hempstead after last Saturday's game at Wolves. Mr Crewis remains in a critical condition in hospital. Police in Milton Keynes are urging the public not to approach a wanted man who has escaped from custody. 47-year-old Patrick McCarthy was last seen in a suit and tie at around 5 o'clock yesterday afternoon at Woughton-on-the-Green. The Queen will lead the nation at a service at St Paul's Cathedral this morning to remember the servicemen and women who died in the Afghan conflict. Many campaign veterans will be there, as well as families of those who were killed in the 13-year conflict. The BBC's Stephen Chittenden is there.
There will be prayers for the 453 British personnel who died in Afghanistan. And of course, there'll be prayers for the 613 seriously injured and the 18,000 estimated Afghans who've been killed in that country since 2007.
Plans for the Dunstable Northern Bypass are going on public display today. Work on the road linking the A5 to the M1 is already underway. Exhibitions are taking place in Chorlton Village today and in Dunstable tomorrow. A former homeless man from Bedfordshire has won a Prince's Trust Award at a star-studded ceremony in London last night. 21-year-old Michael Tyler, who now works for Thameslink at Luton Airport Parkway Station, won the Flying Start Award. A team from Hemel Hempstead won the Community Impact Award. Letchworth residents are complaining about over-enthusiastic deer venturing further into the town. The so-called bold deer are roaming the streets for food. David Cairns is a local councillor for the Grange ward in Letchworth.
We've had one incident of a deer entering the house. The deer had come through and just sort of wandered in and ended up into the kitchen. The resident themselves wasn't in the kitchen, but a couple of minutes later heard a bit of a noise and was confronted by this deer.
In sport, reigning champion Lewis Hamilton and Mercedes teammate Nico Rosberg have dominated practice for Sunday's season-opening Australian Grand Prix, but Rosberg finished ahead of the Hertfordshire driver in both sessions. The weather, some light rain at first, but then a dry day with sunny spells, maximum temperature 11 degrees Celsius, and you can get the latest news and sport online at bbc.co.uk/3 counties.
Thank you, Simon. Morning. Hey, it's Friday. Saying that, I'm working all weekend, but still, it's Friday. Carers will have to undergo training. Arrogant towns and animals. Calling a 6-year-old with an eye patch pirate girl, was it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's
unnecessary.
It's not that bad.
He's a teacher.
It's not that bad, though.
So you in the uniform?
Oh, and no one. I'm surprised by this, judging by the outpouring last night. And OK, let me reveal a little bit more about this Terry Pratchett thing. I thought the outpouring on the 15 minutes on PM, the extended part of Front Row on Radio 4 and the other news coverage, I thought was a little bit excessive, and I thought I'd misjudged the mood of the nation. The fact that no one's called in this morning makes me think, actually, maybe the BBC misjudged the mood of the nation by devoting so much time to him yesterday.
Some people love those books, don't they? And was it more because he was an activist?
08459 455 555.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
So maybe I was right to be surprised by the amount of coverage that he was getting yesterday. I don't know. 08459 455 555. You can send us a text, 81333. Start your text 3CR. Before we crack on, Catherine, do we have any texts?
I need to log in. I've just been in there talking to a right waster. Sorry, you.
May I make a suggestion that one of your first jobs in the morning is to log into the text machine, knowing that at some point in the show we might throw to the text.
Can I give you a response?
Please do.
If it's idle for longer than a certain amount of time, it logs me out. So
okay, well just keep.
Can you not keep taking up my time?
Keep logging in to the thing. Thank you, Catherine. 08459 455 555. Now, from next month, new care workers will have to undergo training in a bid to crack down on people who aren't cut out for such a trusted position. Oh, we've been contacted by a number of care home operators who welcome the news, saying it's a significant step towards raising standards. But our next guest isn't convinced. Kirsty Bourne joins me in the studio. Morning, Kirsty.
Good morning,
Thank
Ian.
you for coming in.
Not at all.
Your dad, James. Tell us about your dad. What happened to him?
I moved my father into a care home in Bedford, Manton Heights in Bedford, because he had Parkinson's and dementia, needed more care than he was receiving. It was a nursing home then. It was only when he went into hospital about 10 weeks later that I discovered that ever since he'd arrived at the care home, they hadn't been giving him his correct medication, principally his medication for Parkinson's.
And how had that affected him?
Oh, it would have affected everything. His movement, his competence, his ability to eat. And as I said, I had noticed a deterioration. I just thought this was natural.
The progression, the natural progression.
Yes. It was only, as I said, when he died, when he was in hospital, that we realised what had happened.
I know we've spoken about this before, but as someone who has a parent in the care home, I find this incredible. That must have... I'd have been furious to have discovered that.
I was furious. I was very angry. And since then, you have kindly followed this story. There's been an inquest. The nursing home owned by Rank Care is no longer a nursing home. It's now a care home. There have been other protocols put in place. Am I still angry at the care home? Yes. Do I feel satisfied with the result? No. Do I feel happy it'll never happen again? Absolutely not.
Let's just go back a little bit. What was the problem? Why did it go so horribly wrong for you and Dad?
It was the system. That is the trouble. It's the system. It's not just about the quality of care workers. In all my experience of dealing with care workers, and I've dealt with many of them because my father was quite poorly for a long time, I've dealt with care workers working in the home as well as in residential care and nursing homes. On the whole, they're very good. Nobody takes a job in care for the money, Ian.
No.
They do it because actually most of them do have a commitment. The problem is the system. Somebody made a mistake. It was a bad mistake when my father first moved into Manton Heights. They wrote his prescription incorrectly. The trouble is there was no safety net. There's no checks. And it carried on like that.
It just seems like such an incredible... And I'm laughing because it just seems like such a fundamental thing. Oh, we've got we've got a new resident. Okay, can we just check and double check and maybe triple check the medication they need to take?
And they don't. I think one of the big problems is, relatively speaking, the whole care industry is quite a new industry. It's only really exploded in the past decade, and so it's come from nowhere, has it? And it doesn't have a proper system of checks and balances. These are just evolving as it moves on.
You say you're not happy with the end result. Obviously, I would imagine there will still be an amount of anger at just how poorly Dad was because of this a mistake. What else are you angry at? Are you angry at the carers, at the boss bosses? Where do you think the fault lies?
No, as I said, I haven't met a carer that, well, I really can't think of a carer that I've met that hasn't been an extraordinary person. On the whole, they're not young people. They're older ladies who have gone back in order to work flexibly. That's why they do it. That's why I'm not convinced about this certificate at all.
Well, yeah, this is the story, isn't it? This National Care Certificate that where I'm still trying to understand exactly what would be taught and what it would mean, but it's...
Well, I can tell you, I've done some research.
Oh, look,
yes, I have. I've got notes.
What a great guess!
I've got a list.
So what will it? Okay, in that case, then, what will it give them? Well, if I were to sit this test and this course, what would I get from it?
Well, first of all, it must be said that most carers, most decent care companies and nursing homes do already train their carers. They don't just set them loose on some unsuspecting elderly person. So all this is doing, this certificate, is kind of standardising the care.
Right.
Okay. And they've evolved. They've come up with 15 standards, some of which are, of course, obvious, like basic life support. Well, you would like to think that carer knew, about CPR and that kind of thing. But there's things like, number one, understanding your role. Your personal development.
Okay.
Hello. Duty of care. Equality and diversity. You know which way this is going. Okay. And may I also say this is a 2-week course.
Gosh, that long, huh?
Yes.
Wow, that's
we're
you
not
up.
talking a GCSE here.
I've got Scottish family, and I sorry, just to go off on there's something about an angry Scottish woman.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's not at all. It just reminds me of being a kid, and it sounds much more powerful.
Yeah.
So you're not convinced by this?
No.
Is this? Why are they doing this then?
It's a reaction. It is a reaction, isn't it? There was a review following a scandal at Stafford Hospital. Okay, and this is the government's reaction to it, which they have to do. They always. But my worry is that. Okay, so they've reacted, they've done something, and now that's taken the focus away, where the focus shouldn't be at the ground level, it needs to be at management level.
Isn't it funny, because you're the second person to say that, and again, I think that the management level is certainly very important, but even the manager can't be responsible if there are one or two dodge pots in the caring industry.
And you will never do anything to, there are one or two dodge pots in every business, aren't there? Yeah, well, fair enough.
Exactly.
But I just always think, look, it's like a school, Ian, okay? However good your teachers are, if you've got, an ineffective headmaster, you are not going to have a good school. So why always point the finger at the shop floor?
Okay, so if this isn't the answer, what do you think the answer is?
It's a tricky one, because to be a good carer, you need common sense, you need compassion, but you need time, okay? And time is money. It's all about money. Nobody sets up a care home or a care company out of the goodness of their heart. They do it to make money. And I hate to be brutal, but the only thing they respond to is money. So if mistakes happen, there need to be penalties.
You're right. The two things there, common sense, unfortunately, you can't teach that. And the number of people who have no common sense at all, none at all. Yeah. And you're right, and it is frightening to think, but this is the fact, they're all businesses. They are businesses. They are. And wouldn't it be great if they had twice the amount of staff? And they just can't. And it is my mum's...
When you say they can't. My father was paying over £800 a week to stay in this care home. Now, the trouble is, looking after the elderly does need a lot of time. But remember, these carers are averaging about £7 an hour.
Oh, yeah.
So hang on, how does that match? £7 an hour, £800 a week. Somebody's making money out of this.
I'm not playing top trumps, but my mum pays £1,300 a week for where she is, and I've been there, and somebody else's alarm has gone off for half an hour while they're, and not an emergency alarm, but can you help get me out of bed or take me to the toilet alarm? It's gone off for half an hour. Kirsty, I could talk to you all morning about this. I'm sorry that you had to go through what you did and what Dad had to go through what he did, but I really appreciate your passion about
this. No, not at all, but it is a ticking time bomb, and it will just lurch from one crisis to the next until something proper happens.
Kirsty, thanks very much for coming in. It's really nice to talk to you.
Thank you for covering this story.
08459 455 555 is the phone number. If you want to give us a call, you can send us a text 81333. Start your text 3CR.
there's a voice that keeps on calling me. Down the road is where I'll always be. Every stop I make a new friend. Can't stay for long, just turn around and I'm gone again. Maybe tomorrow I'll wanna settle down. Until tomorrow I'll just keep moving on. Down this road that never seems to end. When new adventure lies just around the bend. So if you wanna join me for a while, just grab your hat, come travel light, that's hobo style. Maybe tomorrow I'll wanna settle down. Until tomorrow the whole world is my home. So if you wanna join me for a while, just grab your hat, come travel light, that's hobo style. Maybe tomorrow I'll wanna settle down. Until tomorrow I'll just keep moving on. Until tomorrow, I'll just keep moving on. There's a world that's waiting to unfold, a brand new tale no one has ever told. We've journeyed far, but you know it won't be long. We're almost there and we've paid our fare with a hobo song. Maybe tomorrow I'll wanna settle down. Until tomorrow, I'll just keep moving on. So if you wanna join me for a while, just grab your hat, come.
Excuse me playing that, dear listener.
Maybe tomorrow.
I wanted a cheeky chat with Kirsty off air. What a fascinating woman. Thank you, Kirsty.
Tomorrow, you know I'm free to roll.
Had a really interesting chat off air, and isn't it great to get someone who is so passionate about a story?
Absolutely.
And you know, really, with the greatest respect, her dad's passed on now, and she could quite easily go, do you know what? I've done my bit. I've had my shout, and the fact that she's still flying this flag and is still passionate about it. More people like Kirsty, A, in the world, and B, on this show, I think.
We occasionally come across these as guests, you know, and usually something awful has happened to them, but you can always tell when it's someone who is going to carry it on, and I've had her pegged as being someone we need to keep in touch with for a long time.
Kirsty, thank you so much. Sammy, I'm sorry for keeping you waiting. Let's have the travel.
It's all right.
Travel news.
So you're very kind, thank you. It's one of those shows today.
The Three Counties Radio.
On the A1 southbound, queues are building up between the Holiday Inn towards the Apex Corner and Mill Hill Circus. On the A405 North Orbital Road, that's looking quite heavy too, around the M25 junction 21A roundabout, and it's stop-start on the A414 at Park Street around the Park Street roundabout. In Aylesbury on the A41 Bicester Road, the speed sensors are showing that it's really busy between the Cotton Wheel roundabout and Hayden Road, and at the Black Cat roundabout on the A1 Great North Road, it's looking very busy around there as well on the speed sensors. On the trains though, Chiltern Railway have resumed a normal service between Leamington Spa and Banbury following the landslide in January. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you very much. 8:17, it's Friday the 13th of March. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. A woman whose father died following neglect at a Bedford care home says a new national care certificate won't deal with the problem. The Queen will lead the nation at a service at St Paul's Cathedral this morning to remember the servicemen and women who died in the Afghan conflict. And a former homeless man from Luton has won a Prince's Trust Award. Sorry, I'm really windy pops this morning.
Are you all right?
I've had so much coffee and not enough food. That, anyway, this gentleman has won an award. Congratulations.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Da-da-dee-dum-dum. You going on the hunt afterwards? You joining the hunt this morning?
The hunt?
On the show? Are you going to go pheasant beating or whatever it is?
Because of my coat.
You've got your barber jacket on.
Do you like this?
Have you got your green wellies on? And where's your shotgun?
It's country chic.
It's what?
It's country chic.
Is it really?
Yes.
Fantastic.
What?
Listen to that back on playback. Now,
I don't know what you're talking about.
You look very dashing. You do look dashing, actually.
Thank you very much.
I wish I could carry one of those coats off, and I can't. I would look like I was being silly. Some people can carry them off.
Imagine me with my black Labrador, my Wellington boots on,
and your shotgun.
Exactly, my gun,
your taser.
Yes, I'm the only person that tasers animals in the country.
He doesn't really, guys.
No, it's just
You've been on top form this week, sir.
Thanks very much.
It's been excellent this week. There's been a spark.
You're flirting with me.
Maybe I am. It's the weekend. There's been a spark about you, and particularly the consumer hour. The consumer hour has just been. I don't know if it's you've had if it's been the nut jobs that are calling in, if you've been angry about something in your personal life. I don't know, but there's been a real fury to it.
Really?
The poor lad. The poor lad who was all humble because he'd broken his car parking it, and you were really dismissive and reluctantly, because a significant number of the callers said, well, he might have a case, and you went, well, it's a nice day, the weather's quite nice, I'll give them a call. But you were real... Oh, I felt...
Do you mean I've been a bit eggy?
Yes, you have, yes, and I've loved it. I've loved it.
You like it when I'm eggy, do you?
Oh, I love it. More of that. You should. Tim should give you some bad news just before 11 o'clock. Every morning.
By the way, you'll be very pleased today. After 11, Mariam is coming back on the show. She's the lady who spilt the cleaning fluid over her laptop and then sucked it out with her mouth.
What's she coming back on for? She got mouth poisoning.
Well, has she got her new replacement laptop?
Oh!
Has she spilled something on it already? We'll find out.
Has she sucked it off?
What?
The fluid from the laptop.
Cleaning
again.
fluid,
Yep.
yes.
Well, what's on your show this morning?
Well, actually, it's interesting you talk. It's interesting you talk about the consumer part of my programme, because something has very much kicked off on my programme in the last 24 hours or so.
Yeah.
Matthew from Luton told me that an estate agent wouldn't let him put an offer in on a house unless he agreed to use their preferred mortgage advisor.
I stayed in my car and switched to the AM broadcast because I got out of reach so I could hear this story yesterday. Yeah.
Right. Well, when he asked why, he was told by the estate agent that the vendor would only sell the property to someone that was prepared to use their mortgage arrangement service. So he wasn't very happy about this, particularly when they then failed to get him a mortgage. Yeah. Well, he wrote a letter of complaint, and he wrote the letter to the vendor as well. She then contacted him and said she had absolutely no idea what this firm of estate agents were talking about whatsoever. She'd never stipulated that she was only prepared to sell the property to people who used their mortgage advisor. Well, when we discussed this case yesterday, the phone lines lit up with loads, and we came in this morning, there's loads of messages on the answer phone and emails that have come in overnight.
About the same estate agent?
The same firm of estate agents who, when they told us, no, we would never put pressure on customers to take out a mortgage using our own in-house advisor. We would never do that. Well, seemingly a lot of people disagree with that. Well, I've decided this morning at 9 o'clock we're going to dedicate an hour to your stories this morning. What's been your experience of estate agents? Estate agents have a very bad reputation, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
Many people consider them to be a bunch of liars.
Scum.
But is that fair? Or does it all depend on which firm you use?
Yep.
You see, I mean, and I'll tell this story a little later on as well. I'll give you a little sneak preview. I used a firm of estate agents when I sold my last flat, and I'd used them in the past, had a good experience with them. Well, they did something that, to be honest, made me angrier than I have ever been with any company in my life. I have never lost my temper on the phone in the way that I lost my temper.
And you've
with
had companies threaten to out you as a pervert online.
I have. Yes, you're absolutely right. I have never been so furious. I thought I was going to have a heart attack or burst some kind of blood vessel. I was so furious. While I was on holiday last year, and bearing in mind I was selling my property to this couple who were buying it, and while I was on holiday, without asking me, they took my buyers into my flat. That because I'd left, I got on the aeroplane at 5 o'clock in the morning or something. You know, I left. I hadn't made the bed. I'd just left the bed. The duvet.
It was your flat.
The curtains were drawn because I was going to be away for a week. They took my buyer into my flat and allowed my buyer to start fiddling around with the heating system.
No.
Because there were concerns over how it worked. And they only told me that they'd done this when they realised that the buyer had been pressing buttons on the heating system and they weren't quite sure what had happened to it. And they then said, oh, just to let you know, we did actually take your buyer into your flat while you were away on holiday in Frigliana. I can't even tell. I was so furious. The minute I landed at Luton Airport, I think I screamed and shouted at them for half an hour until I could get to their offices, and then I continued the screaming and shouting in there. I was absolutely furious. And that was a firm that I thought I could trust. I thought I could have a good, positive experience with.
I finish at 9 o'clock, just so you know. I can see...
No, I'm getting angry
I know
about
you're
it
in
again.
a zone.
But I just wonder whether you, listening to the programme, have also had an experience of an estate agent. If so, I'd love your call from 9 on 08459 455 555.
BBC Three Counties Radio is about and for the people of Beds, Herts and Bucks.
It's the most creative radio station that I've ever known, with the most creative people.
Everyone loves what they do, first and foremost, and everyone feels and knows the responsibility they have, like the audience that they're talking to.
We've always been at the heart of the community. I'm not ashamed to say we are a local radio station.
It's because we cater for so many things. I'm a Luton Town fan, I can get my commentary. If I want great soul music, I can listen to Tony. If I want consumer advice, it's Jonathan.
The people who are making the radio, on and off air people, are just so very, very dedicated, very hard working.
We're not scared to try anything.
Something we all take great pride in. We want it to sound like a good station, and I think that comes across on air.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Sorry, I'm chomping on a BAP. Nice BAPs, Catherine.
Thanks very much.
Terry Pratchett passed away. Very sad. I'm not in any way knocking the gentleman. I'm sure he's a wonderful gentleman, a great campaigner for... I'm going to turn you microphone, a bit of respect. Great campaigner for dementia and also for euthanasia. I was surprised by the public outpouring and the amount of time that the BBC dedicated to the gentleman yesterday. Can you explain Terry Pratchett to me? Anna's on the line. Good morning, Anna.
Hello.
Are you a Pratchett fan?
Yes, I'm really... Oh, I had a little cry last night.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah.
Tell me, OK, why do you like him and why did it move you to tears?
Because he was a very gentle person and his books were just... They were just a parody of life and they were so real.
Well, hang on. The Discworld series were real? I thought they were all fantasy.
But everyone's got like a nanny old character that they know, or everyone's got like a... Some of his characters were quite pathetic and...
No, I'm doing the thing that I don't normally like to do, and I'm trying to tread carefully. I'm criticising. I've never read a Terry Pratchett book. It's just the covers put me off. The fact that they were all a bit fantasy, but they spoke to you, did they, Anna?
Definitely. You know, like sometimes you look at somebody and you think, oh, they're really grumpy.
Yeah.
And they could be, like, a bit aggressive and everything. Well, those sort of people were represented by characters in his book, you know. So.
But to cry for an author...
Yeah. I read him when I was 17.
Ah, OK.
And I've read all his books. And
yeah.
I just thought it was just a lot.
He's written loads, hasn't he?
He's written lots and lots and lots. And that's how come you're so attached to the characters, because you've grown up with them.
If I had to, do you know what? If I had to pick a Terry Pratchett book to start with, Anna, what would you recommend?
I like Monstrous Regiment, I think.
Monsters Regiment?
Yes, and there's also one about an army, and it's all women, and they don't know they're women.
What?
They're pretending to be women. And it's a parody of the American Civil War.
There's an army of women, and they don't know they're women.
None of them. They know they're women, but no one else knows they're women until the end, and it turns out that they're all women.
Spoiler alert! Well, I don't need to read that one now. Anna, you silly sausage! I don't need to read that one now.
But that's how brilliant it is. That's how good it is, though.
I quite like one called Mort. That was the first one I read.
Yeah, Mort's good. Feet of Clay's very good. That's a parody on...
Anna, listen, I appreciate that. Thank you. Slav is going to give us the Polish perspective. Morning, Slav.
Good morning. You all right?
Yeah, I'm all right, thank you. Terry Pratchett, were you a fan?
Was I a fan? I still am.
Tell me why.
His look on the world, although it's like a fantasy world, it's in his own world, it's not unlike the real world we live in, and the references to these days are just incredible. The way he puts it out, you're missing all this sort of political correctness and stuff we walk around. So it's really pointing out pointing out bits and pieces
Were they
from
not?
different walks
Were they
of
not
life.
a bit silly though? Just, I mean, the covers always put me off. They just look silly.
I agree with you about the covers, but then covers got, to be honest, you cannot judge the book by the cover.
That's a very,
We've
very
always been told.
very wise words, actually. Yeah, you can't tell what the story's going to be like by looking at the outside. You phrased it better. What did you say?
You cannot judge the book by its cover.
I'm going to use that, Slav, and pretend I came up with that. Thank you.
Yeah.
I was surprised last night. I'm going to travel in a second. I'll be late again. I was surprised last night. There was 15 minutes on PM. There was an extended part of Front Row on Radio 4. It's on the front page of some of the newspapers. That's a bit extreme, isn't it?
It depends. For people like me who absolutely love Pratchett's intake in the world, it's not. But for people like you who never read his book, it might be a bit over. So.
Do you read him in English or Polish?
I actually got all his books in both languages.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, I've
When
read
you
both,
read
and
the
I
English,
absolutely love
or
it.
when you read the English or and the Polish version side by side, do you notice a difference in the story or the way it's being told? Do you hear somebody else's voice in the way it's being told?
Not really. I have to admit, the Polish interpreter was brilliant, but some of the jokes, I only start to understand them when I came here, because the Polish interpreter interpreted the jokes in like a Polish way, so we understood it for ourselves. But then when you read the original, after living here for so many years, it was like reading the book from the beginning again. Like I've never read it before.
Slav, I've got to move on because I'm late. Thank you. I find the whole world. There's a documentary in that, isn't there? The whole world of translators. Because I used to read a lot of Murakami, who's Japanese. I found his endings a bit silly though. And then I read a fantastic article about the guy that maybe a woman actually, who translates his books from Japanese into English. And of course, it's not just like Google Translate. There's an art. You've got to be an artist to be able to do the translation.
I used to love doing that at university because it was about making it sound like it was your native language, so
Yeah.
it didn't sound like you immediately just ripped it from someone else.
Hey, Radio 4, if you want to do a programme about book translators, I don't want to do it, but I'd listen. That's out there. 08459 455 555.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
The A10 southbound's quite slow from the Great Cambridge Road at the New River Trading Estate towards the M25 junction 25 for Enfield. And in Enfield, the A10 southbound's looking busy too between Bullsmore Lane and Carterhatch Lane. In Amersham on the A416 Chesham Road, that's looking very heavy between Rickmansworth Road, Amersham and Amy Lane at Chesham. And in Aylesbury on the A41 Bicester Road, it's very busy between Dickens Way at the Cotton Wheel Roundabout and Hayden Road. Looking at the motorways though, the M1 southbound's easing off between junction 11 for Dunstable Road and 10 for the M1 Luton Airport Spur Road. And having a look at the M25 and the M40, that all seems to be moving well so far on the speed sensors. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Across beds, hearts and bugs.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
With the headlines, I'm Simon Oxley. The Queen will lead the nation at a service at St Paul's Cathedral this morning to remember the servicemen and women who died in the Afghan conflict. A woman whose father died following neglect at a Bedford care home says a new national care certificate won't deal with the problem. And a former homeless man from Bedfordshire has won a Prince's Trust Award at a star-studded ceremony in London last night.
Three Counties Sports.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Reigning champion Lewis Hamilton and Mercedes teammate Nico Rosberg have dominated practice for Sunday's season-opening Australian Grand Prix. New Milton Keynes Red Bull driver Daniel Kvyat was sixth in second practice, but Daniel Ricciardo didn't make it out of the garage. James Allen is in Melbourne.
Mercedes well ahead of the rest at the end of the first day of free practice in Albert Park, Australia. Nico Rosberg, last year's winner, edging out teammate and reigning world champion Lewis Hamilton by a tenth of a second after first practice. The two Ferraris, though, of Vettel and Raikkonen, look potent in their challenge for the podium.
England's cricketers are playing Afghanistan in their final World Cup match, having already been eliminated. Rain has stopped play with Afghanistan 111 for 7. In tomorrow's football, Watford host Reading. The Hornets will check on the fitness of striker Odion Ighalo and midfielder Alman Abdi, but Tommy Hoban is suspended. Watford, one of 4 teams level on points at the top of the Championship. His defender Craig Cathcart.
Yeah, well, me personally, I've never seen anything like it since I've been playing. It's been
unbelievably tight, especially in the last few months. You usually get 1 or 2 teams that run away for this stage, but no, it's wide open from one all the way down to 7 positions.
Milton Keynes Dons go to Walsall, aiming to end a run of 3 successive defeats. Goalkeeper David Martin is fit again. Captain Dean Lewington returns from suspension. Wickham hosts promotion rival Shrewsbury. Luton go to Portsmouth. Hatter striker Paul Benson could be back in the squad 4 months after breaking his leg. And Stevenage are at Cambridge. In the Europa League last night, Everton won 2-1 at home to Dynamo Kiev in the first leg of their last 16 tie. And in racing, it's Gold Cup day at the Cheltenham Festival. Retiring 19-time champion jockey AP McCoy rides Carlingford Lock in his final Gold Cup.
After Gold Cup night, after racing, that's when it'll really sink in that I won't be coming back here again as a jockey, and that's going to be a difficult thing to take. It's the Gold Cup, it's an amazingly tough race, but hopefully I've got a good chance to win it.
BBC Three Counties News and Sport. The next full bulletin is at 9.
Call 08459 455 555.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
It really is a busy show. Lots to talk about. Arrogant animals, arrogant cities.
Have you ever helped a criminal by accident?
Have you ever helped a criminal by accident? That's the one I'd like to focus on. And can you sell Terry Pratchett to me? Or and this isn't... before you go on and say, it's a bit soon to be having a go. Not having a go. I just never got Terry Pratchett. Yeah, it was sad when he died. Of course it was. But I was surprised by how much... 15 minutes on PM yesterday, the lead story on Radio 4. And I thought it'll be a nice little 3-minute package, and it went on and on and on. Have I missed something here? Or are you like me? Maybe you've read a Terry Pratchett book and didn't get it. And thought, well, what a load of old tosh.
I liked it. I could see the parallels. I thought it was clever.
But you didn't pick up any more?
I did. I read about 3 on the trot. That was me done.
You weren't very well. 08459. Thank you, Kelly. 08459 455 555. Call up now and we'll speak to you after my next guest. Letchworth residents are complaining about arrogant deer venturing further into the town. The so-called bold deer are roaming the streets for food, damaging property, entering homes, and one even assaulted somebody. Well, Derek Stimpson is chairman of the South East branch of the British Deer Society. Not particularly common in this country, is it, Derek, to have such tame deer?
Well, I wouldn't say that. It's becoming more common.
Oh.
Britain is a crowded country, relatively speaking, and deer like our climate and countryside and do very well here. So as numbers increase, we will have more and more deer-people interactions. They are an issue in road traffic accidents, and indeed I get calls from people with deer in their garden, sometimes entranced with having them there, then a month later fed up because they've eaten everything. So deer are coming into human areas, if you like, looking for food, we assume, and as the population increases, it seems that there are less places for them to be where they would normally be, and they overspill, looking for food, probably come into urban areas.
Are deer the new pigeons?
Well, I wouldn't say that. They're a little bit different, but we do have all sorts of animals that come and interact with us. Urban foxes are another one, of course.
Yeah. If overpopulation is the reason for this, then is the answer some form of cull?
Well, the only way that we currently know to control populations of deer is to cull them, and British Deer Society seek to have that done by trained, responsible people. But currently, yes, contraception means darting individual deer with hormones. It's just not practical. So a cull is the only way.
Is shooting the only way to do it? There has been the idea of reintroducing the lynx back into the UK.
I think we have enough problems with the deer.
Yeah.
To introduce large predators would be very complicated because any predator will always go for the soft target, and they too may come into urban areas. I mean, one can't say, but it's not a good idea, I think.
Derek, I'm always amazed doing this job, the number of societies that exist that I had no idea existed. What does the British Deer Society do, and how long have you been going?
We celebrated 50 years 2013, and our mission is the study and welfare of deer. We grew out of the treatment of deer in the 50s and 60s, which was appalling. They were shot with shotguns and so on, and the Deer Act was founded to ensure proper treatment and control of deer. And we've come forward from there.
Derek, I appreciate your time this morning. Thank you. Derek Stimpson, Chairman of the South East Branch of the British Deer Society. Just one suggestion. When I've got a guest as excellent and as knowledgeable as that, probably not worth you giving me jokey questions to ask him, Catherine.
Wasn't giving you jokey questions.
Yes, you were, mate.
Good and relevant questions.
Is our deer the British raccoon?
Yeah, they're annoying.
Then the next line, possum?
Well, you know, possum a bit shyer.
And then I asked, what do the British Deer Society do? And you said, do they hang out in ask him if they hang out in clearings, then run in different directions when somebody turns up. I'm not going to do that.
Question.
You're supposed to be the reins of this show. I'm the runaway horse. You're on my back, riding me hard, whipping me when required, and then pulling my reins to steer me left, right, or to slow down.
If you want to do this on air, that's fine. But I just think that you missed a few tricks there, and I was trying to supply them.
You're my horse bag, and when I get hungry, I feed from you.
Oh. In other words, he wants a coffee.
I'm all right, actually. David's on the line. Good morning, David.
How are you?
I'm giving the team a right royal spanking.
Yeah?
Yes, I am. Just as I want. I sometimes I give the listeners a spanking.
I got my bottom slapped.
Peter's had it, and any of the other listeners can get it as well. Would you like a spanking, David?
Oh, well, I don't know. Hey, Gringo, what you doing, huh?
What?
Pardon?
Hey, Gringo, what you do?
Hey, Gringo, why are we doing a Mexican accent?
Yeah, I'm the David. I'm the David that did the rendition of Teen Angel last week.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, I'm so sorry, David. I didn't make the connection, Gringo. What are you going to sing for us? What are you going to sing for us this week, Dave?
Well, could I phone back later with something to sing?
Not really. We've got 20 minutes.
Oh, I see. Because I actually phoned up about Terry Pratchett.
Tell us about Pratchett, and then sing us a song.
Yeah. Well, Terry Pratchett held a mirror up to life and showed our strengths and our frailties.
No, he was a writer, wasn't he?
Sorry?
He wrote books, didn't he?
Well, yes, indeed. But, you know, it's the way you relate it. The English language is a wonderful medium. And in the same way as a mirror, it would sometimes reverse things around. And he also did little parodies of, you remember Dirty Harry?
Dirty Harry, yes.
I don't know how many bullets I fired either. Are you feeling lucky, punk?
Go ahead, punk. Go ahead, Gringo, make my day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm Dirty Harry from Mexico. Make my day, punk. I'm from Mexico.
Yeah, I got another version of that, you know. Innuendo. Yeah. The Mexican suppository.
Okay. Your line is breaking up, David. Can you go and stand somewhere, maybe take off your tinfoil hat and stand somewhere secure? Because we want to hear your song in a perfect Davo vision.
Is that any good?
Well, tell me what you have for breakfast.
I haven't breakfast.
That'll do. Go on, what are you going to sing for us?
Well, I've got a choice. I can either do True Love Ways or a nice little B-side to a Trogs.
Oh, let's have B-side to a Trogs. Don't know that one.
Okay. Now, I know it's not on the back of Wild Thing because I never got that one. It may possibly be on the other side of that one in the film.
Bums Are All Around You.
On the Wind. Yeah, that's the
Written
one.
on the Wind. Bums Are All Around You. Okay, David. David singing the B-side to Bums Are All Around You. Away you go.
Okay. A little girl was born today in a town not far away from where I live. That little girl means more to me, much more than you could ever see or know, my love. I would have built my world around you. I would have blessed the day I found you, but you know what happened then. When I named the wedding day, your mom said, no, that's not the way it's gonna be. She couldn't see just what she'd done. She thought our love was only fun. How could it be? I would have built my world around her. I would have blessed the day I found you. But you know what happened then. One thing's for sure, I've got to have more of your love.
Your love.
But how it should be, well, I just can't say for my love. For you know what happened then. You and I were torn apart, but we'll fight back. It's just a start. It cannot end. For from our love was born today a little girl not far away from where I live. A little girl, a little girl. There you go.
That was fantastic, David. Excellent stuff. And of course, you're not a professional singer. You used to sing in the factory. You're not a professional singer. People might be surprised to hear. You used to just sing in the factory until all of your colleagues complained and got you fired. Is that right?
No such thing.
David, speak to you next week, fella. Thank you very much.
And you, thank you.
There we go. You see, there are nice people in the world, and David's one of them. Thank you, David.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
In Aylesbury on the A41 Bicester Road, it's looking slow between the Cottonwheel roundabout and Hayden Road. And on the A10 southbound, it's busy from the Great Cambridge Road at the New River Trading Estate southbound towards the M25 junction 25 at Enfield. But having a look at the cameras and speed sensors on the M25, there are no major delays showing up there and no real problems reported on the M1 or the A1M or the M40. On the A1 southbound, there are queues between the Holiday Inn and the Mill Hill Circus past Apex Corner. And in Watford on the A41 North Western Avenue, that's looking quite slow around the Dome roundabout. No major delays showing up on the train departure boards at the moment. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Yeah. Yep, that's it. 8:45, Friday the 13th of March. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. The Queen will lead the nation at a service at St Paul's Cathedral this morning to remember the servicemen and women who died in the Afghan conflict. A woman whose father died following neglect at a Bedford care home says a new national care certificate won't deal with the problem. And a former homeless man from Luton has won a Prince's Trust Award at a star-studded ceremony in London last night. It's the last 15 minutes. Let's get Dealey on the show. Let's get you, dear listener, with your phone calls. Let's get ready to rumble. But before that, Rizzini.
Beds, hearts and bucks weather.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Hello, good morning, thank you. It's going to be a nice day again. We'll see the cloud thin and break where we do have it to give us some spells of sunshine. We do currently have a band of rain just to the west of us, so it's just sort of seeping into western areas of our three counties, Buckinghamshire in particular, of course, down through High Wycombe and towards Reading as well. That's where the rain is at the moment, but it is going to push its way further westwards. So things will brighten up slowly through the morning, and by the afternoon it's spells of sunshine again. Top temperatures up to 9 or 10 degrees. Not as high as they were yesterday, 15 Fahrenheit. By the time we get to the afternoon too, we've got an easterly breeze, so it's quite a chilly breeze. You watch out for that over the weekend. Overnight tonight, temperatures are down to 2 or 3 degrees, lots of cloud around but staying dry. And then Saturday, really cold and cloudy day, very grey indeed. Temperatures no higher than around 6, maybe 7 degrees. Compare that to last weekend when we got into the mid-teens. It's going to feel very cold in comparison. I think it will stay dry on Saturday. The risk of 1 or 2 showers perhaps running in on that very cold easterly on Sunday. The wind's going to strengthen as well, and in any exposure then it's going to feel really quite chilly. So not a great weekend on the cards, so do enjoy the sunshine which will appear later on today. That's the forecast.
Yeah, that's the forecast.
With all our Football League sides still chasing promotion, tomorrow is another chance to gain valuable points. Watford are at home to Reading.
Back up to Deeney, who hammers it into the roof of the net.
MK Dons make the trip to Walsall.
What a strike from Lewis Baker!
Luton are at Portsmouth.
Guttridge in towards the back post, header in from Jayden Stockley.
And Stevenage travel to Cambridge.
It's Bruno Andrade!
Three Counties Sport, tomorrow from 2, here on BBC Three Counties Radio.
459 455 555.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Yes, sir. Texas. There's loads of Texas, Catherine.
Lots. Arrogant deer. This is from Adam, the Sittingbourne trucker.
Yep.
I've got an image of gangs of deer hanging round street corners drinking cheap cider and wearing hoodies. You're not far from the truth, according to reports in Letchworth. Ev says, I don't use social media sites, but if I could, I'd send you a picture of a wild deer that comes into my kid's mum's back garden and it eats her hand.
No, you're all right.
Eats from her hand.
I can imagine that.
Tony says, release the Black Panther. We'll get the deer running.
Yeah.
What did the cheese say when it looked in the mirror?
No idea.
Hello, me.
From Beverley in Northampton. I can't understand the complaint about deer in Letchworth. They're muntjac deer and delightful. Like foxes, they are scavengers. Has the person considered tidying up their garden, says Peter in Letchworth, phoning someone?
They went into someone's house and attacked an elderly woman.
No, they didn't.
They ripped a face off
No.
of an elderly woman.
They didn't.
They mauled her.
They didn't. They went into her kitchen.
She was physically abused by a deer. Dear, oh dear. I've got no idea how that happened, dearie.
It did shove her a bit as it went out.
You're
I
right,
don't think that was
dear.
on purpose.
And the thing is, I'd love to. I'd love to get. The lady wants to get the damage fixed, but it's just too dear. Mauled.
Dearly beloved.
She asked the builder how long it would take, and they said about a muntjac. Her name was Jacqueline, I forgot to say.
Oh, what?
Muntjac.
I only found out recently it's a muntjac.
Yes.
I thought it was a monk jack.
Why?
I've been saying it wrong for 40 years.
You must be tired.
Do you know what? Catherine? I'm going to give you that one.
Thanks.
Then I'm going to give you a spanking after the show.
Thanks. Can I just say for balance, says Colin, let's get serious for a moment.
Let's get serious, Justin.
Yeah, let's get serious.
No,
serious.
Let's get serious.
I want to get serious. Let's get into serious. Let me hear your body talk. Your body talk. Let me hear your body talk. Not your bum. Let's get serious. Serious. I want to get serious. Let's get into serious. Let me hear your body talk. Your body talk, let me hear your body talk. Let's get serious, serious.
Chewing the fat with Justin D. Chewing.
And we're getting We're chewing
Colin,
the fat. We're getting serious. Just setting the scene, Catherine. It's not all about you.
No, it's
Fair
about
play. You've had a fair crack this morning of the whip. So it's not all about you. It's about other people. Right now, it's about me, this guy. Right now, it's about Just. We're chewing the fat with Justin.
Yeah.
OK, Colin. Anyway, thanks for your text. You're right.
Well, no, read it to Justin.
No, it's in approach now.
Read it.
It's in
Let's have a listen. Come on, let's have a listen.
It's in approach.
Well, what is it about?
Spoil the moment. About carers.
All right, well, hang on a second. I can reset the scene. Hang on a second. I'm going to set the scene. Here we go.
On FM, AM, online and digital radio.
This is Iain Lee.
On BBC Three Counties Radio.
Catherine, I think, has got a serious text. So serious, I've actually kept Kelly's fader closed. So, Catherine, it's over to you.
Hey guys, could I just say in balance, the vast majority of carers in this country do a very good job for very little pay. My partner actually doesn't get paid for travelling between jobs, so she can do over 40 hours but will get paid for less than 30. In effect, she receives less than the minimum wage. She was trained for several weeks before being allowed to care and then was chaperoned, shush Justin, I can hear you breathing, by an experienced member of staff. She loves her job and her service users and they absolutely adore her. Please don't let one or two bad apples tarnish the reputation of tens of thousands of carers. I'm sure that's not what you're implying or intending. Thank you for reading this out seriously and addressing the balance. Colin,
No, thank you very much, Colin. But I think every time we've tackled this story this morning, I have made that point. But thank you for reiterating that point, and good on your wife for doing what can be a thankless job.
It's good text. Can I just say there, boss, that I think I was told off for breathing. I think thousands of people heard that across beds, hearts and bucks. I've just been told off for breathing.
Maybe a few hundred have heard that, yes. Would you like to lodge an official?
Potentially. I mean, that's quite serious.
Breathing again. Heavy breathing. Doing it again.
Yeah.
Just breathing, guys.
You're doing it again.
Okay.
OK. He's breathing, mate. What do you want him to do?
Final warning.
What do you want me to do? Come on.
Final warning.
Breathing.
Back up with your breathing.
Unbelievable. Dear, oh dear, oh dear. I've got no idea what she's on about, Justin. You should sue her, and I think she'd have to pay dearly.
Well, let's just say I stopped breathing because I was told to, and something bad happened.
Yeah.
Then what?
Well, let's ask Lynn in Letchworth. Good morning, Lynn.
Good morning, Ian. How are you?
I'm fine. Justin wants to speak to you.
All right. Hello.
Oh, I know who you are, Lynn. It's Glow Stick Lynn.
Ah, yes.
Lynn, for those who don't know, Lynn came to the pictures with us to see 50 Shades of Grey, and she brought glow sticks.
Wonderful.
I've never seen anyone bring glow sticks to the pictures before.
Come on, Ian. You enjoyed it.
Oh, I love the glow sticks. I didn't enjoy the film.
No, nor did I.
It was boring, wasn't it?
It was.
The good thing about the glow sticks, Lynn, was we could tell where everyone's hands were.
Yeah.
Oh.
Lynn.
Especially with Dennis.
Yeah, well, Lynn, are you biting your bottom lip?
No, why?
Are you rolling your eyes at me?
Oh, I am. I'm fluttering my eyelashes.
Here we go. You know what that does to me, Lynn. What have you called in for, Lynn?
Ian, I know it's you're not long on air now, but remember me saying about festivals?
You were thinking of organising a festival.
I'm not thinking, Ian. I want to, but I need you to put out there again. If there's anyone, if there's people out there like we had before, events managers, and to join me because I've got to get pen to paper. So I need either a team of people to help me, and then we can go from there.
No, OK. For those who missed it, we're going to have to end in a mix. Like Justin's got a package for us, and we all love Justin's package, don't we, Lynn?
Oh, definitely.
Now, Lynn wants to organise a festival to help elderly people to raise some money. Catherine, when is it the Kath and Ian show on the Good Friday? When is Good Friday?
It's when...
Don't do it funny. We haven't got time. What date is it?
It's like the beginning of April.
Lynn?
It's not got long.
Lynn?
Yeah. Yeah.
I tell you what we'll do. Kath and I are doing a very badly conceived show on Good Friday. Maybe we could phone you up on that show and we can spend a bit longer talking about it.
Yes, please.
Would that be all right?
Yeah, because I need to get pen to paper. I need people to get on board to help me.
OK, Lynn, listen, it's in the diary. We will speak to you on Good Friday if we remember. If we forget, then I'm really sorry. But we'll remember. Put that down as an item, Catherine. That's half an hour.
OK.
Justin.
Yes.
I'm sorry, mate. It's all go this morning, isn't it?
Yeah.
And again, I'm sorry for the way Catherine spoke to you.
It's fine.
I'm not.
It's not a problem.
I'm not sorry at all.
OK, guys. Listen, Catherine. Just because you once cupped Dealey...
I didn't.
Sorry?
There's no Ev.
It's not. Well, the Ev is his story and the look of hurt in his eye.
You know what his imagination's like.
Justin.
Yes.
Arrogant animals and places.
Yeah, you've been talking about arrogant deer this morning in Letchworth. This poor lady going home to find a deer in her kitchen. The arrogance of this animal going into somebody's home to try and steal food. You've been talking about arrogant animals and arrogant places as well. I love my job. I've been on the streets this morning getting people's answers. Just take a listen to this.
Taking it to the streets with J-Dog.
Name me an arrogant animal.
Lion. Lion is eating the animal also.
Top of the chain. Think they're it?
Yeah.
Shih Tzu dogs.
Shih Tzu dogs? Well, why do you think Shih Tzus are arrogant?
My missus has got one, and it's a nightmare.
Just goes around thinking he can do what he wants, just pure arrogance.
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
Let's get the Romanian perspective. Sir, this morning we're talking about arrogant animals. Name me an arrogant animal.
Tigers.
Tigers?
Yes.
Why are they arrogant?
They're arrogant because they're very angry.
Where's the most arrogant place you've been to, sir?
Paris. Soho.
Paris or Soho?
Yeah.
OK, talk to me about Paris first of all, very, very briefly. Why is it so arrogant? What is it about that place which just smells of arrogance?
It's the way people walk around with a chip on their shoulder.
Cats, they're independent. They think they're it. You can't make a friend of a cat.
Yeah.
A cat is a loner.
Where's the most arrogant place you've been to? A lot of people saying Paris this morning.
London. Okay. I've been all over the world, and I would say London.
What makes London so bad for arrogance?
Because they think they're it, and they're not. They're far from it. They're way down the table of whatever it is, but they think they're so good.
Paul, again, you're going to go for cats. Well, why are cats so arrogant?
The shape and they have an attitude.
So the all-round shape and the attitude. That's great stuff. Thanks for your time.
You're welcome.
Oh, tiger.
Explain your reason.
Well, some of them can be arrogant, especially cats and dogs. I mean, pit bulls are the worst ones.
Well, hang on a second. Well, we've gone from tigers to cats and dogs. We're looking for your number one arrogant animal.
Oh, yeah, tiger.
The shape of cats makes them arrogant. That was genius or insanity. I don't know.
Do you know what? The streets, they are just lined with gold.
I've got to say, Dealey, this week you have done some cracking stuff. You're on tomorrow, midday till 2. What can people expect?
Oh, cracking show tomorrow. UK and American charts from this weekend in 1964. More from Jimmy Webb. He talks about some of his famous songs.
Oh, I can't believe Coffer spoke to Jimmy Webb. Coffer's got Ray Davis next week.
Just a cheek.
Oh,
and also
brilliant.
all about the mums this weekend. It's Mother's Day on Sunday. We want the songs that remind you of your mum when you were growing up. And also, is there a song that reminds you of having your first child? All that and much more tomorrow from
Justin,
midday.
have a good one. Thank you.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
In Aylesbury, looking at the A41 Bicester Road on the speed sensors, it's slow eastbound from the Cotton Wheel roundabout to Hayden Road. Also in High Wycombe on the A40 London Road, that's looking busy in both directions. In Watford on the A411 Beecham Grove, that's looking slow around Escourt Road. And in Hitchin on the Moormead Hill, that's looking very busy between Carter's Lane and Purton Road. Having a look at the cameras on the motorways on the A1M, it's all moving fine at the moment. No reports of any problems on the M25 either. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Sammy, thank you very much. I can see the JVS team putting out their cigarettes, drowning the last dregs of their G&Ts and getting ready to do their show, which means it's time to go. Podcast will be up in a few hours. You can get it first on the Three Counties website, and then it'll be on iTunes a bit later on. Thank you, Kelly, Justin, Catherine. Excellent stuff this week. Thanks for all your calls. Back on Monday at 6 o'clock. Until then, from us, ta-ta.
Local and vocal across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Ian. A very accurate description of my team. Good morning, welcome to Friday's JVS show. It's 9 o'clock, and on today's Big Phone In, what's been your experience of estate agents? Matthew from Luton told me